Cheesy Talks.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Boss Rush Games Podcast. We just chopping it up, really having a good time. I am your host, ADV. Joining me, as always, is the wise Wisconsinite, Mr. Jesse Douglas.
How's it going, everyone?
Our streamer champion, Mr. Ray Apollo.
Hello. I don't like Whopperitos.
And Bossman himself, Mr. Corey Derrick.
I didn't order the grilled chicken sandwich at Chick-fil-A.
I thought I heard Forrest Gump somewhere. Where's he? Is he here today, too?
He's gone.
He ran away.
Tom Hanks
He's
is a
eating his
national
box of
treasure.
chocolates.
Okay.
Yes.
Everybody, this is our final episode of the year. Not saying that the show is going away anything, but we're going to be starting 2020 with a bang. Of course, since it's the finale of the show, it is our Game of the Year awards. We have some great games that we all have chosen. Personally, for us, for some of our honorable mentions, and
I'm going to tell you guys right now, my game of the year is that little golf tee game at Cracker Barrel.
Well, I've never been to a Cracker Barrel, so I would know.
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. That thing, yeah.
Where you gotta jump them? Yeah, you gotta jump them and have one left.
One left.
Ray,
Yeah.
I want
a
you
good
to,
one.
I want you to stream that for like 5 hours straight, just that little triangle tee hopper game.
I can promise you 1 hour. I can't promise you 5.
Nope, 5 hours.
I think
Nope.
they have
Do
those
for
at
charity
Texas
or something.
Do they
Roadhouse,
sell them?
too,
Do
don't
they sell them at Cracker Barrel?
Yeah, they do. My mom has like 3 sets of them.
Dang.
Ball in the cup instead. Ball in the cup. Ball in the cup.
That
I
little
just
paddle
like
with
a
the ball
stick.
attached to it. Just goes,
Yeah.
A stick and a hula hoop, guys.
There you go.
one of
Well,
them
before-
1920s bicycles with a large wheel in the front.
Before we go on forward, Boss Man got some church announcements he wants to bring to y'all.
announcements.
Good Lord.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Well, first of all, I want to say that since we launched Boss Rush Games after we changed the NX show, it's been a fantastic time. We've grown a lot. I feel like we've kind of come into our own in terms of, chemistry on the show and everything. Like, I feel like it's been really good. So I figured it's time to add the other content that we've been talking about for, 8 months now. Pod and Play is coming back. Ed and I have been working on a list of those games, which we will share in the chat shortly. 10 episodes, 3 seasons next year. So we're planning 10 episode seasons for the return of Pod and Play. First episode, I think, is going to be the 3rd week of January, heading all the way through March. And then our new podcast, Standard Definition, is coming, where it's a retro and nostalgia-based podcast where we talk about things that kind of shaped our nerddom, if you will. And, our first episode is going to be the 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, which I am thrilled. Also debuting the 3rd week of January. So we are also putting together an interview series, 1v1, that will show up on your Boss Rush podcast feed probably every other week, I think, where we interview a content creator or streamer or a podcaster or somebody that does something cool on the internet or on the world, or if they make games, whatever. We're going to start interviewing people and just having them on to have a good time, and maybe they'll guest appear on this show or another show. So that's the guaranteed slate of shows. We're also talking about continuing the retro game show. Ed and I are going to play some retro games, and live shows are coming back on Twitch and Mixer. So if you want to go ahead and follow us on Twitch and Mixer at Boss Rush Games Live, twitch.tv/Boss Rush Games Live, and mixer.com/Boss Rush Games Live. They will be returning in 2020 as well. So just an update for everybody, but I know nobody really cares about any of that. So Game of the Year.
Don't be saying stuff like that. They care.
I mean, like
Well-
the announcement part. I'm sure they'll care when they start listening and watching. I'm just saying, like,
They've
announcements.
heard it and they appreciate it, and you're welcome.
They love us.
Yes. And you guys can follow us on Twitter at boss_rush_games. You can find us also on Facebook as Boss Rush Games, our community page. And you can email the show at bossrushgamespro at gmail.com. Correct, Corey?
Yeah. Good job.
Yes. Yes. So it has been a phenomenal year of games. 2019, we have played things on PS4, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, PC, mobile, even probably some DS. You never know. We have just played a lot of gaming everywhere. So us four have come together to give our honorable mentions and give our top 5. So the way we're going to start this off is that we're going to do our honorable mentions, and then we're going to do our top 5, and then we will see what is Boss Rush Games Game of the Year. It's going to be interesting for a discussion. So I am going to start this out with Mr. Douglas, since he has some games that he wants to talk about.
Good thing you're starting with the guy with games. It'd be sad if you started with somebody without a list of games for the Game of the Year discussion. You know.
I don't think there's anybody here.
All right, so yeah, there's
Hold on one second, Jesse, before you go. Mr. Ray Apollo, are you being fancy tonight?
What do you mean?
What you did?
Yeah, he's drinking wine. That's
No,
fine.
this is an Imperial Porter. It is a chocolate peanut butter Imperial Porter.
I just see.
It's delicious.
There's a lot of P's in that beverage name.
Right. I'm waiting for you to just to lift.
What an Imperial Porter.
I'm waiting for you to lift it up and then swirl it around and then.
This is a beer. I don't need to do that. But this is this is my stout glass.
This is my aluminum can. Swirling it around all fancy like. Got to put my pinky out because.
I hope you enjoy that.
You know,
while you keep your heart rate up, mine is slowing down. I'm having a good time.
Look, I'm trying to
do Jesse. Get that aroma.
It smells like gasoline and caffeine.
And bull semen.
Oh God.
Or taurine or whatever.
I mean, whatever's in y'all's energy drink, yeah.
Oh man, if I knew there was bull semen in here, that would definitely get my heart rate up, and probably something else coming up. You know, like
I mean,
that pizza I ate for dinner, that might be coming out.
Unintended side effect, you know.
Right. All right, Jesse.
All
My
right.
bad.
Good thing this is the last show of the year. Jeez.
All right. So my bottom 5 of the top 10. Yeah. So there was I had a hard time trying to really figure out where I wanted to put games in my ranking. So my bottom 5, I had Control. Now, am I just just saying the 5 and then talking about them, or
we're just gonna run I think how we should do it, what we did on Power Block is honorable mentions. We just kind of said a little thing, like 1 or 2 things about our 5, and then the next person did their 5. So
okay, all right, yeah. So Control, I really love that game. But there was just so many other games ahead of it that I just couldn't justify putting under it. Outer Worlds, was amazing, and I need to go back to it. I think that, out of these last few, I feel like only Control and one other one did I like pretty much finish. But and that might be partially why they're lower, but I still like my experience with them like is like, you know, these are games that I think people need to play. So yeah, Outer Worlds, amazing. You know, the world that I've experienced so far. I love how you have the choices you can make, and just, you know, the like how they make you make decisions that aren't exactly easy choices to make sometimes. I really like how they did that, and how they kind of made it a very, you know, like scrunched down experience and not too long, and feel like it's just putting stuff in there just to stretch it out. Jedi Fallen Order, I did get to play it finally. I haven't put a lot of time into it, but like, you know, like what I've played of it already, I can say that I'm definitely gonna love that game. I like the controls and everything feel good that, you know, so far that I've used, and it kind of reminds me almost of like a mix between like Tomb Raider and like I don't know, like a Dark Souls or something. Like it has a lot of feels to like the older Tomb Raiders of the, you know, climbing up stuff and, you know, doing a lot of, you know, that kind of like exploring, you know, these big vast areas and climbing up stuff to get to other places and a lot of that kind of stuff. And then Wreckfest was underneath that. It's an amazing game. I've been wanting a really good Destruction Derby game ever since Destruction Derby 2 came out. You know, like Destruction Derby 2 is like basically like one of, I think, the best Destruction Derby games, you know, ever made till now. Wreckfest does a really good job of taking that whole concept and like mixing in the realism of like a Forza type style game, but letting you have that like fun of just smashing into cars and just, you know, letting you have fun with it. I mean, you can have like, you know, like drive around on lawnmowers or buses or combines. I mean, it's just an insane game, and it's just, you can tell it's built for just crazy fun. So, and then number 10, I could not have this game in my top 10, Untitled Goose Game. That game was amazing. I loved every minute of it that I played and finished the game on Switch. And then now that they added it to Game Pass, I put it on my Xbox, and I've been playing that with my son this weekend. So, or this week, I should say. So yeah, I loved that game, and I
does it have achievements to that one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, because like I've only beat the first part of the game, the first run. From what I understand, there's a whole new, I think, lists that open up after you beat the game of things you can do, I think. So I want to beat it again and then see if I can't like 100% it, like do all the other stuff that there is. Because I know there's like a hidden list of like where it doesn't tell you what you have to do to unlock it. It's just, if you do something and you find it out, you'll unlock it, kind of thing. So yeah, I love that game. It's fun. It's nice playing it on the Xbox. So yeah. So those are my bottom 5. I do have like I said, a whole list of other games, but we can wait. I'll just wait. If we have time later, we can always bring up other stuff.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Boss Man, what is your top 5 honorable mentions?
Okay, I actually had a lot more than that, but I'm going to try to change it up because I know we're going to talk about some of the games in my bottom 5 later, just because I'm sure they're higher up on people's lists. So I'll go to some of my other ones. My Friend Pedro is a game that I think deserves a little bit of attention. It just got added to Game Pass, and I played about an hour or two of it the other day, and it's really cool. It's like this kind of level based kind of, you can like the mechanic is like you can slow down time, and you dual wield pistols, and you can shoot two enemies at once by doing certain mechanics and stuff. And the whole premise of the game is that it kind of feels like they wanted to make Deadpool the game, but didn't get the Marvel license, pretty much. So instead of having, multiple personalities in his head, he hallucinates a talking banana, and the banana tells him to murder people, and that's kind of the premise of the game. And you run through the levels, and when you slow down time, you can do acrobatic moves and kill. Like you use left trigger to kind of lock on to someone with one pistol, and use the right stick to kill people with the other gun. And it's a really cool mechanic that doesn't really sound like it works, but it does somehow. So I know it's available on Switch, but I played it on Xbox Game Pass. Really cool game. It's definitely worth mentioning. Fell Seal, the Arbiter's Mark, is it's pretty much a, how do I explain it? It's thing like movies and TV shows that are funny, but the dialogue they're saying, like, it's meant for the audience to know that it's funny, but they're taking it super seriously. It's that kind of writing in a love letter to Final Fantasy Tactics. I think there's over 80 or 90 characters you can add to your party, and they all have unique abilities and specialties and stuff. And it's a really cool game. It's got a really kind of, I wouldn't say unique art style, but it's got a cool art style. Very. I don't know if you guys played Has Been Heroes at the launch of the Switch, but it kind of has that kind of weird art style. Or that if you played Super Bomberman R, that kind of those cutscenes, whatever they're kind of done in, that kind of art style. It's really fun. It's $30, but it's a really long game, and it's a really cool game. So I think that deserves some attention. Also, Wargroove, along the same lines, it's kind of a love letter to Advance Wars. It does get kind of hard, but also I played it before the patch came out that made it easier, so maybe that's on me, and maybe I just suck at those games. So, but fun nonetheless, and the fact that it's crossplay and you can make your own maps and share them across consoles and PC is really cool. So, and that Advance Wars mod that they made on PC is also really cool. So, you should play that. Oh, how many is that? 3? All right, I got 2 more. Box Boy and Box Girl on Switch. That series, I've always loved that series. It's just a basic kind of puzzle platformer. You try to get from one end of the stage to the other by building bridges and stairs and blocks and that kind of thing, and collecting crowns, and try to get 3 stars on each level. And it's really charming, really unique art style. I think it's very simple but charming at the same time. The music and the sound effects are also really cool. So that's probably the best $15 I think I ever spent. And then last but not least, oh boy, what do I pick here? We're gonna go with Control as well. I'm probably about 3 hours in at this point. I played a little bit today because I wanted to. I knew we were going to talk about it today, and I wanted to get a little bit farther in there before I kind of gave a somewhat valid opinion, I would say. So I really like that game. Ever since I turned the motion blur in the film grain off, I feel like that game is more responsive. It's cleaner. It feels a lot better. It feels
load faster.
Does it load faster? Yeah, like out of the pause menus and stuff. Yeah.
I have a really bad problem with texture pop
on
Xbox. It's big.
Yeah, like everything just got smoother. The load time, like loading out of the pause screen, I know there was some issues with that. Like coming out of that, it was way less noticeable. It's still there, but it was a lot better. And there hasn't been any texture pop in. It's all just been there. So,
Okay.
so yeah, if anybody's still playing that, like, definitely recommend you turn that off if you want a cleaner experience. But also if you want motion blur and film grain, more power to you. But it was the same. Like, it really reminded me of, like, when I turned it off, I was like, oh, that's why I didn't really care for Mass Effect 1 at the beginning, because, like, it had film grain and motion blur on, and I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'll have to try that, because if there's one thing I hate, it's motion blur.
I probably haven't noticed it yet, but I gotta play more of Control.
it's because you're playing on a screen the size of my pinky nail, Ed. You got to play on a big TV.
I am playing on a big size TV or a nice size TV.
I believe you.
All right.
No, I don't.
Did you ever believe me?
Sometimes.
Oh, okay.
I
Well-
believe that you believe in yourself, Ed. That is the most important thing.
I believe that you believe in me. That
I believe that you believe that he believes in himself.
Okay, if
believe in a
Sheriff's
thing
Believe
called
starts
love.
playing, we're going to have a situation at hand.
No.
a very believable situation.
You know what? Mr. Apollo. what
It's
is
that
your
time of
five
year, guys.
propositions?
You got to believe.
Exactly.
All right, son.
I believe in a thing called love.
That video was insane.
I love that song.
Oh.
So good.
All
The
right.
Guitar solos.
So I've been thinking about this because I played a lot more games this year than I really thought I did. I was going through I had a big huge sheet of almost everything. It's like 95% complete of everything that came out this year. It's missing a lot of like notable mobile games and other stuff, but like this spreadsheet has a lot, and I played way more than I thought. So this is actually like I started going down that list, and I just started writing stuff down, and I was like, I gotta stop writing stuff down because there's like 20 games on here, and I'm like, I gotta do something. So I got it down to about 15-ish. So top 10, and then some auto mentions in case you guys mention some stuff that I'm like, well, I can mention something else instead. So, all right, for the bottom 5, because that's where we're starting. I'm going back 10, I guess. Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, a fighting game that nobody played, and everybody absolutely should have played it. And the only reason why they didn't play it is because it's got the Power Rangers license on it. That's the only reason why.
That $40 version is $23 on Switch right now.
Exactly. I got it. I think
Oh,
I got
really?
it on sale for
Nice.
like 15 when it was on sale, like for Black Friday.
Yeah.
If it's a decent fighting game, and if you like Power Rangers even remotely a little, you should do yourself a favor and pick up this game.
I think it's because, like you said, it's a licensed game.
I mean, but it's
would be like,
actually work with multiple pros, like fighting game champs, to like develop the systems for this game, and it shows. Like the combo systems are fun, the assists are fun, the characters, the way that they work, they're mostly different, which is awesome. And they take a lot of Rangers from all across the Ranger timeline. So like this is actually a pretty good game that I feel like more people should have gave a shot. And once again, I'm not gonna let this die. It should have been nominated for Fighting Game of the Year over Jump Force. But still, yeah, here we are.
Those anime nerds.
Well, you know, and I think was you would know too, Corey. Didn't like Giant Bomb or Giant Beastcast talk about it at some point when it came out?
Yeah,
I know one of the shows talked about it.
They did a ranking
that
of
they
fighters
liked
on it, I think.
Yeah, that's what it was, and they were fans of it. I mean, you know,
They
like
said it's no
obviously,
Street Fighter, but it's better than Jump Force. Exactly what Ray said.
yeah,
Thank you. As a man who plays games pretty often, that's exactly.
yeah.
wow.
So that's number 10. Number 9 is hard because I do want to put Control in my honorable mentions because I really am enjoying Control, but it's one that I started recently. Like Corey, I'm about probably 5 hours into it, and I really, this game is special. It's a good game, but there were so many other games this year that just connected with me more. That it's like it's not that it's a bad game. It's just that it personally didn't connect with me. So I'm actually not gonna like have it as an official honorable mention. So instead, I'm gonna go with Outer Worlds. And the reason why Outer Worlds is in honorable mentions and not in my actual top 5, and I don't know if I told you guys this, I think I told at least one of you guys this. I was playing that game, and I got all the way to the end of the game, like basically the last 2 conversations in the game, and I walked into a room and the game crashed. This happened to me 5 times, and the only way for me to avoid the game crashing was to go in all guns blazing and essentially shoot the second to last person that you could talk to, thus skipping half of the end of the game like story.
Yeah, I remember hearing about people talking about that.
And so I had a phenomenal time with Outer Worlds up until the last 20 minutes. And it left such a bad taste in my mouth that I cannot put it in my top 5. It just, man, it really kind of hurt me that it, like, at the end of the game, I had such a terrible bug. And I'm pretty sure I'm in a very small minority that it happened to, but dang, it sucks that it happened. So I love that game. The game was really fun. Like you said, the consequences and the choices the choices that they have you make are difficult right out of it. And they stay hard throughout the game if you have any kind of, morals.
When I'm playing Outer Worlds as evil. I'm doing all evil stuff.
Evil stuff is easy, but if you're trying to do my good, it's like, no, these are great, but I gotta do one. So yeah, but I don't know. I really enjoyed my time with that game up until the last 20 minutes, which kind of soured it for me, which sucks. So, but fun game. Absolutely, you should try it out. I hope they've patched it since then. So everybody should play it. It's worth playing. It's on Game Pass, so you know how we feel about that. Play it. So that's number 9. And then let's see, number 8. I'm gonna go with Void Bastards. I don't know if you guys played Void Bastards.
I played it for like 20 minutes.
That got a lot of hype.
I loved this game. I love the art style of this game. I love the humor of this game. I love that it's a rogue. Well, I get this wrong sometimes. I love that it's a rogue light, but it's a first-person shooter, and it's so much fun. It's stressful. It's funny. It's easy to play. Once you get the hang of what you're looking for and like kind of the patterns that you need to take and like in space to get the materials that you need, it's actually a really good time. And I spent a lot of time with this right as it came out. It's just one of those things that it also came out. It came out about the time that a lot of other really big games came out. So I got maybe a weekend with this game before I had to move on, but I loved it. I loved every bit of time I spent with this game.
It was kind of it's a weird release though, because it kind of came out of nowhere, and people just started talking about it. They were like, "What is this game?" And then it just started getting popular because people were playing it, talking about it.
Which is good. I like when that happens organically. It's like people wanted to play it because people found it. It was like, oh, this is interesting. And other people saw other people talking about it. It's like, oh yeah, this is interesting, and it just kind of snowballed, which is good.
Yeah.
But good game. I also on Game Pass. You should try.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the thing is I feel like during that time a lot of really good games came onto Game Pass too, and so it was like there was all these things to try out and play, and so I didn't give it as much time as I would like to. But those are the kind of games that are gonna be big for me to try to play more of this next year here when I have time. So.
A little bit of time before game apocalypse starts, and there's nothing but game.
Right.
So that was number 8. So number 7. Wait, I can't count. Yeah, wait.
Yeah, 7.
7. Apex Legends. I really like Apex Legends.
That was
my favorite.
That was initially on one of my honorable mentions too. Well,
good.
It was in my top. It was in my top 10, but I mean, if we're only doing top 5, it's technically honorable mention.
Yeah. It's a really good. It's really good. Like, it's my favorite BR. I love the way it works. I love the way it's paced. I love the weapons in the game. I love the characters. I love the map. It's just a really good BR. Yeah. And I don't have to build stuff. And that's awesome. So
you don't have to build anything.
I just get to find guns and shoot at other people, and you'll sometimes work as a team. Which I wish it had a solos mode. I'm not gonna lie, I really do wish it had a solos mode. But I really, really enjoy Apex Legends. It's easy to play. It's easy to jump in and out of. It's just a good time.
I played 2 matches today. On my list, I try to at least give like 10 to 30 minutes to the game, all the games on my list, just to give myself a refresher. And I played I played like 3 matches of Apex today.
Yeah.
It was
It's
fun.
a good game. It's fun.
And I forgot that they were doing that Christmas event. So
Yeah,
like,
the train thing.
Oh,
yeah, and it's all like different, and the map is all frozen over and stuff. Yeah, it was a good time. I forgot how much I actually really liked it, and like it reminded me of like last year when Jesse and I would switch between Apex or earlier this year, Apex and Blackout earlier this year. And it was, oh man, Apex is good.
It is good.
Yeah.
So I love that game. I also wish that it was crossplay. So give me crossplay and a solos mode, and it's a perfect BR for me.
Yeah, that's ultimately why I ended up playing the Blackout mode more over it. Not because I didn't like it as much, but they both offer their own things, and for me, that solo modes in Blackout is what really sealed it for me, because like me and Corey would try to play in stuff occasionally, but it's something I could do when I wanted to.
Play by himself.
I would play solos, and I think I'm up to like 15 or 16 wins.
Jesse needed that level 3 backpack to carry me around.
Oh, I love it. All right then. Well, number 6 in the last honorable mention. This one was really difficult to like narrow down. Ed said that this was a phenomenal year. I think the 2019 was a decent year. Like, it was all right. We've had better years for games, and this year seemed kind of confused. But it's also end of a console generation. They knew it was coming. We didn't really know it was coming, and so here we are. But we got the Nintendo Switch. And speaking of the Nintendo Switch, a game that I really enjoyed on that, and as my last honorable mention, was Katana Zero. This game surprised the heck out of me. I love the style. I love the music. I love the really weird and kind of creepy story. But the gameplay, the bullet time gameplay in this is some of the best I've ever experienced when it comes to bullet time.
Yes.
I love the way it works. I love just the way that it's basically kind of like a time manipulation simulator, but with a samurai sword.
Yeah.
And then the way that you can watch it like in footage, like in slow-mo, kind of like a John Wick thing, after you complete it, is wild to me. I love it. This game just really kind of shook me, and I was not prepared for it to be as good as it was. Like, it looked super cool, and I was like, yeah, that looks awesome. Because, that happens every once in a while. We get an indie game that looks really cool, but then when you play it, it's like, okay. It's just, a little bit of the same, but not enough of what you want it to be. But this turned out to be everything I was looking for and more. So Katana Zero is absolutely something I 100% recommend, and almost made it into my top 5, but there are a lot of really good games in my top 5 that knocked it out. So
yes.
Yeah.
And I could have swore it was on sale recently.
Oh, I'm sure. I guarantee.
I think it's on sale right now, actually.
Yeah, because I was really, really, really looking at that game, because it does look like something.
I like the color.
Like, it kind of almost reminds me of Lightfall.
Exactly. I love the colors in it as well. It's such a pretty game. It's so pretty.
Oh man,
Well,
Lightfall. That's a game everybody should play, by the way.
Yeah. Such a great game.
Oh, it's so good.
My honorable mentions. Number 10 started with Anthem. I really did enjoy Anthem. The shooting was good. The flying was good. Like, I had a good time with it. The story is what it was. But I think it's a game that when I put my headphones on, and I played it on Xbox. When I put my headphones on and just went into the world, like, the sound mixing is like super cool, really good. And just the way that the guns feel. Like, I love the machine guns in there. Like, it's just, I didn't have a problem like some people had it. So I thought it was a really good game. My number 9 is Pokemon Sword and Shield. Love the grind. Truly into this game, still playing it, still trying to beat it, but thoroughly enjoyed it. Yes, for some people it's more Pokemon, but I really like some of the changes that they made to this game. It got me hooked on it, that playing it with friends like Dynamaxing and fighting the giant Pokemon with your little Pokemon and the crew. Like, that's really, really fun. And there's just so much to this game after you beat it that you be like, wow, I didn't even know they had this in the game. And of course, customizing.
That was also like really close for me. It was either that or Void Bastards, and it was kind of like a coin flip. So yep.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's I'm not really very versed in Pokemon World. You know, I've watched it. I've experienced it like throughout the years. Obviously, it's kind of hard not to, but like the newest game is I love listening to people talk about it because I really am interested in it, and I would like to get it eventually someday. And hopefully this is the one that really can I can start getting into, and because Pokemon the EV Go and all that, it wasn't bad, but it just didn't do it for me at the time. Those are games again that I want to sit down one of these days once Max is a little bit more versed at playing games and stuff, because right now I've been letting him play on my Xbox and just letting him try all different kinds of stuff and so he can get used to things. But I could see that being something that would be fun eventually, to be able to hopefully sit with him and work on me and him were doing Minecraft the other day and today and stuff, and I've never really actually sat down and tried to play Minecraft, but we did today, and I actually learned something how to do things in that game, so that was fun.
Yeah. Well, my number 8 is Katana Zero. Same reasons that Ray gave. I talked about this on Nintendo Power Block that you guys can check out, and I literally want a poster of the cover of the title screen. I love that artwork. It looks so cool, and it's just so anime yet so punkish and neo, like the neon, just the color palette. I'm just oh, this looks so good. I even want a shirt, a hoodie with Katana Zero on it. It looks so good, and just the Ray broke it down for everybody, so I won't spend too much time.
I need the art and the vinyl soundtrack for that so bad.
Yes.
So bad.
Yes. Number 7 for me is Crackdown 3. Truly enjoyed this game. I have fun playing with my friend at night. We would play to 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 or 3 o'clock, just destroying stuff and shooting and getting levels and jumping around. It reminds me of Sunset Overdrive, but the game being developed from Microsoft. You could definitely tell the difference of quality between both games and stuff. But Crackdown 3, I had a blast with it. I think the money that, because I ended up buying the game, and I think it was worth the purchase that I paid for this. And then people who have Game Pass, if you guys want to play it there, go and play it there. But it really is a fun game. If you play with another person, the playthrough is shorter. If you play by yourself, it is a little bit longer, because there are some boss fights that would kick your tail. But it's fun getting back up there and shooting and everything. So my last one for number 6 is Daemon X Machina. And I put Daemon X Machina in my honorable mention. You guys could once again here on Nintendo Power Block. It's because since Boss Rush games kind of represents all different platforms of playing it, I played some really great games on other platforms, and just Daemon X Machina, it would be my number 1 honorable mention. It didn't become my game of the year because something else took it, but I was super anticipated for this game, and when it came out, even playing the demos and stuff, I'm okay, I can't play no more of the demos. I gotta play this game. The customization, the flying around, the Witcher 3, the Witcher content, and the free DLC. It's just the artwork and the music, and it's just this is definitely way better than Armored Core. But it's just it's so stylish, and so it has an anime feel, and I love just this cell shade anime look to it, that it pops, and it just looks beautiful and so fun to play and everything. And I love the fact that, even during the demo, they put the demo out and wanted people's feedback. If you wanted to trash the game, you could trash it, but let them know what what they could do to fix it to make this game better, and they really listened and they really made this game like really good. So that is my honorable mentions. So everybody, that we have gave you our honorable mentions. Now it's time to get into our top 5. So this time, Corey, I am going to start with you. Ray, you will go next. Jesse, you will follow, and I will go last. And so that is the way we're going to do it. So, Bossman, what is your number 5?
Man, okay. So actually, before I get into my number 5, the best game I played this year that didn't come out this year was Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So I'm just gonna throw that out there because I knew we weren't ever gonna get to that, and I just wanted to jump on that.
Oh, we could do our backlog stuff.
I squeezed it in there. Nope, too late. Already done. I'm just kidding.
For me, it's Ashen. That game is so amazing. You need to play it, everyone. Do it now. Do it.
I have my completion list of the NX Challenge, and I want to run down those games.
Well, that makes one of us.
Well, my game was a game that came out some time ago, but it re-came out this year, so I'm cheating and using it anyway.
Well, boss, what's your number 5?
My number 5 was still currently playing it. It probably could be higher on my list, but Shovel Knight King of Cards is my number 5.
Interesting. Tell me more.
I love, as most people who have been following me for a while, I love Shovel Knight. I love me some Shovel Knight. Plague Knight didn't do much for me, but Spectre of Torment is the best campaign. I would argue to say it's the best 2D side-scrolling campaign I've played this side of Super Mario 3 or World. It is, and King of Cards is starting to get that way. The only reason why I don't think it's going to beat out Spectre of Torment is because they do make you play this really weird card game, because the story setup is it's a prequel to Shovel Knight, just like the other DLC. And King Knight is not yet the king, but he's trying to con his way to become the king by challenging people to this card game that's really popular in the world. And he wants, I think what he wants to do is play the current king in this card game and bet the crown on this card game. So you're making your way through, and like it has the traditional side-scrolling levels and stuff, but when you go into town and stuff, you can play people in this weird card game that's kind of like Triple Triad from Final Fantasy 9. That's what it was called, right? Triple Triad, the card game in Final Fantasy 9.
Yeah.
Where like your card slides the other cards off the deck, and whoever has the cards left on the table wins. And then you get to pick one card from the person that you beat to add to your deck, and then you move on to the next battle. I don't really care for that part of this game, but the platforming stuff is on par with the rest of the games, and it's it took a little getting used to do the dash move and the wall jumps and stuff, because you have to use the dash move to wall jump. It's something you have to get used to, but once you get hyper focused in on it and just continue doing that, it's awesome. And it's probably the best way they could have closed out Shovel Knight, this version of Shovel Knight at least. And Shovel Knight King of Cards is a fantastic game. I think it's $10 on the eShop, or if you have Treasure Trove, you just probably already have it in your update. So
you might have just sold me on that. So
it's so good. It is so good, man. It's just even the animations from the background to the foreground, and the way the way they use their animations and their kind of 8-bit aesthetic to kind of just bring to life this world is Yacht Club is doing something special with Shovel Knight outside of just, giving him to everyone to put in everything. And like Shovel Knight is like the mascot for indie games almost, it feels like. And they've proven that again and again why Shovel Knight is kind of like the top tier indie that you kind of want to aspire to be as successful as. So King of Cards, man, it's a great one.
Yeah, I just love the characters in general and how
Yeah.
they look.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
all the main characters that you play as, they just look amazing.
Yeah, and the writing in the game is also unexpectedly just as funny as Shovel Knight and Plague Knight, right? Like Spectre of Torment was definitely not on the humor side of things. It was really a more humorous story or a more serious story. But it's definitely the best campaign, I think, in the series. But King Knight's right up there, man. I would actually probably put it above the original Shovel Knight campaign in terms of quality. Not that, I mean, it's like saying, like, you know, if you're watching Indiana Jones, you're like, oh, man, Raiders is pretty good, but that Last Crusade's right up there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Fair enough.
or like,
All right.
you know, like Secret of the Ooze and Turtles 1. They're like kind of interchangeable. I don't know. I'm trying to use terms that I understand.
Yeah, they're so close. They're so close. It's hard to choose.
Yeah, it's it's good. So, yeah, King of Cards, great game.
No,
All right, Ray. Where's your number 5?
so I redid this list like 3 times since we sat here.
Wow.
And I think I landed that my number 5 is Astral Chain. I was looking for a game that was going to be fast-paced, wild, fun, but just easy enough for me to put on my Switch and play. And Astral Chain is perfect for that. This game is fast-paced, over-the-top, completely ridiculous, and I loved every minute of it.
So what you're saying is, I downloaded it in September. I should probably play it.
You should absolutely give Astral Chain some of your time. It's going to be very just wild and wacky right immediately, but it gets crazier. Believe it or not.
I mean, I kind of
So-
expect that from Platinum, though, right? At this point,
I feel like this is Platinum firing on all cylinders, like in the best way. This is like Vanquish and Bayonetta Platinum. Like this is good. Like this is real good. So
it's not Ninja Turtles Platinum.
it's not Ninja Turtles or Legend of Korra Platinum.
I actually started the Ninja Turtles game on PS4 this year.
Oh man, dude, it was so bad they took it off shelves and they removed it from the digital store. I wanted to play it just because it's Ninja Turtles, but
I had the PS4 version, Corey. I will
Did-
bring
by
it
the
down.
way, not to derail this conversation too much, but like, how do you not have at least a decent game when you mix Turtles and Platinum?
Because you assign like 6 interns to make it, and they make a game, and it's not.
No, you're under Activision.
Is it better? Is it better than the Prince of Persia Ninja Turtles game that came out when that animated movie came out?
Wait, what?
I actually don't know, and that's a shame.
Wait, when
That's
did
the
that
one that was
happen?
removed, right? That's the one that was removed that you can't really buy anymore, right? The one,
both of them.
Prince
Both
of
of them.
Persia.
You can't
Oh,
buy
they
either
are
of them.
both. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And I think that's the weird thing that happens with the Turtles series. It's like the franchise. Like they put something
Yeah.
out and they're like, yeah, let's do something. And then when it's terrible, they're like, oh no, we shouldn't let this be out there.
Yeah.
They're like, get rid of it.
Well, I think that was before Nickelodeon got it.
Absolutely. I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
Well,
That's the problem.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you
So-
see what Nickelodeon's doing to the Turtles now, and it's just maybe it wasn't.
Well,
Actually, I haven't been paying attention to that at all.
Oh, man,
I don't know if that says everything. Yeah.
the first series Nickelodeon did was great. The one that's currently on is bad.
Oh,
it's
well.
all,
let's
it's
put it this
it's all
way.
about the animation.
Let's put it this way: Raph is the leader.
Nope. Say no more. Okay.
Leonardo's the
That's
loser.
all. That's literally all you have to say.
And Splinter looks like he should be like one of the guys in like the what's the HBO show about the mafia and stuff. Like
No. I mean, listen, I
The
love Raph
Sopranos?
as much as the next
yeah,
person, but
yeah.
is
he looks like he
not
should
a
have been on
leader. That's
Sopranos.
like when they decided to make Wolverine the leader of the X-Men, you know? And like Wolverine, he grew on me eventually, but no.
Yeah.
No.
Nope. Nope.
Nope.
Donatello
Okay, but no,
would be a better
Astral Chain,
leader.
you absolutely should play it. It's a good, crazy sci-fi anime time, and oh my goodness, it was just a while. I was just yelling from start to finish because it was so good, and like it has moments that are like, so you know how games like that you get sometimes they tire you out because it's just go crazy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It has really good sections in between that slow it down just enough that give you lore and background that help you like avoid that fatigue, which is really nice. So I definitely say give Astral Chain a shot. Like it's absolutely a must buy for the Switch, if you ask me. Must buy. So
Cool.
All right, Jesse, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is a little game called Mario Maker 2.
Nice.
Never heard of it.
I know that game
what a sweet
kind
little
of.
indie game.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
looking dead at the Corey. I'm just like, did you just say that you never heard of it?
It was a joke, Ed.
It's a joke.
Comedy.
They never made a first one. They just started with number 2. I know it's kind of burnt out. It's kind of burnt out a little bit, and we don't hear as much about it. But like, the thing is, there's so many levels and stuff out there that you can play that at this point it doesn't even matter. I could probably play that game like hours every single day for like years and still not run out of levels to play.
So someone made the whole first Legend of Zelda.
I was about to say you'll run out of good levels, Jesse, but you won't run out of levels.
Yeah. Well, I think there are still a lot of people out there making good stuff on it. I think it's not being talked about.
It's good.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. I need to pick it up again because I haven't played any of the
Even
newer
if you
stuff.
just play it for the Zelda stuff, like I could go through it now, just play Zelda stuff and be completely happy with it. It doesn't even need to be Mario no more. It's Zelda Maker now, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I was excited when I heard people talking about all that add-on stuff. I just haven't gotten around to it, but I'm definitely gonna. Yeah, I just I didn't get to experience the first one, and technically I did. I played it one time. I was over at someone's house and they had it, and I tried it once, but so this is me getting to experience that kind of thing for the first time, and then just all the amazing things that they added to it from the first one, and just it just seriously was it's probably my second favorite game on Switch, overall, right underneath Zelda, Breath of the Wild for me.
Okay.
Because it just in a lot of ways it's almost like Breath of the Wild, where there's so much you can just kind of go off and do, and you can do whatever you want, and you can really make it last as long as you want to, or be as short as you want it to be. It just it's just never a never-ending game, basically. So yeah, that was my number 5. I was like, I really want that to be in my top 5 and get some recognition, because I think they did a great job. So.
All right, so my number 5 is Concrete Genie for PlayStation 4, and because I know for a lot of us didn't play really a lot of PlayStation games this year, but when I tried out Concrete Genie, I love the aesthetic. I love the art, the colors. Gameplay is really easy. Great music. I think this is a new studio from Sony. They said 6 people made this game, and I'm like, wow! It feels like it's something that Media Molecule could have made if they were a little bit better at platform and 3D design. And not to take nothing away from Media Molecule, I think they're creative and imaginative and stuff. It's just the execution sometimes doesn't land right. But Concrete Genie, I really love just drawing on the boards and adding different areas and just going around this town and stuff. And it's like it's really, really cool. I love that the fact that it's probably Sony's best exclusive, not exclusive, rephrase that, is Sony's best first party game for PlayStation this year. So yeah, Concrete Genie is my number 5. Boss, what is your number 4?
All right, so before I get to my number 4, I know I keep changing the rules here, but the game I need to shout out, Ed, that we talked about on Power Block, that came out this year, $1.99, the best, probably the third best puzzle game on the Switch behind Tetris and Tetris 99. It is Hook. It is Hook.
Oh, it is Hook. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
Hook is wonderful.
I thought you were gonna say minute.
Nope.
Never mind.
Nope. Hook. It's basically lockpick simulator of the game, and you just go through and solve these little puzzles, and it's fun. So $1.99.
Yes,
And,
like I
great
said, look, like I said on Power Block, Corey got me just like, okay, I'm gonna try this game because Corey is all into it, and I spent 5 hours after I bought that game trying to get halfway through it. Like I was hooked. I was hooked.
Yeah, you were hooked on Hook.
Yeah. It's really good.
Where's the hook?
Dude, it's the best $1.99 I think I've ever spent. Actually, I think it was less than that because I had gold coins. I just
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I might be able to get that for like 5 cents.
probably it's probably like 10 cents on
Probably.
Steam or something.
Because the funny thing I was telling Corey, I was just like, you feel good when you unlock something and you see that key like disappear, but then Corey's just like, just when you like think that you got the right answer and it's still locked and the puzzle erases, you be like, no.
Yeah, because you
Yeah.
you have to finish the puzzle on one turn. There's no like you can't screw up because once you screw up, even on the longer puzzles, if you screw up, the puzzle resets and you have to restart. And it's so infuriating when you're like on
That
the
was
second.
me in that stupid HRA puzzle in Control last night.
Yeah.
God.
So
Yeah, there's actually a free browser version of the game.
No.
I believe.
$2 for Hook.
$2.
$2. Pay for it. Pay for it, jerks, cowards. All right, my number 4. My number 4 is going to surprise a lot of people, but it's a game I've been addicted to, as well as Shovel Knight King of Cards the last 2 or 3 days, I would say. And Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair.
Nice.
It's so good.
Yeah, I know.
So
I want to get it. I want to get it so bad because isn't it basically?
It's everything
Dumb.
you like. If you played Donkey Kong Country Returns or Tropical Freeze and enjoyed that, this game is a better version of those.
Okay, so see, now I was worried that you were going to say, "Oh, if you love Banjo, you love this," and I'm like, "I didn't play Banjo," but
No.
you said Donkey Kong,
No,
and I'm like,
the first
"That's
one,
the best thing you could have said."
The first one is a 3D open world or a 3D level based platformer like Banjo. But this one is a 2D side scroller like
I
Donkey
did
Kong
not
Country.
know that.
Yeah, and the
Yeah, I cannot wait
overworld
to play that game.
the overworld is kind of if you played Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, the overworld has puzzles like that in it.
Oh, nice.
And like it doesn't really like you don't need to solve them to get through anything. Well, not yet at least. I mean, it'll unlock like secret pathways and stuff, but like mostly it just unlocks like stuff that you can buy tonics with and stuff. So they're just little puzzles. Kind of people were comparing it to Zelda. I wouldn't go that far. There's relatively simple puzzles, but just the
Yooka-Laylee
music.
and Impossible Lair, $22.50 on Switch right now.
Yep, it's man. If you enjoy 2D side scrollers, it's one of the best on Switch. The music is great. The the same way I was talking about Shovel Knight King of Cards, like the way the background complements the foreground, and Ray sounds like he hurts.
I'm fine. It was just loud. A little feedback. Okay.
Feedback. And the music is great. The platforming is wonderful. The enemies are charming, even though you just murder them. And like when they die, it's like every time the enemies die, it's like when people die in South Park. It's like comically hilarious when they die. They're like, blah. It's like it's so good. I wanted to love that first game, and I liked it, but I didn't love it. And I'm glad that their follow up took the 2D route because it serves these characters so much better. It's just a way better fit for what they wanted that first game to be, and it just didn't quite get there. So
now my question is there a physical version of this one?
Yeah.
The physical version is $40. The digital version is $30.
So Jesse, it was like the Nintendo Switch version for Black Friday was sold out everywhere.
Yeah,
you couldn't find it nowhere.
The physical version everywhere was $10 on Black Friday.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
$10.
Yeah.
Holy crap!
But see, I wish I would have
knew that.
But see, I had to get mine for PlayStation 4 because the Switch version was out. I should have got it earlier on Black Friday from Best Buy at one Best Buy that I went to because they had it for Xbox, but they didn't have it when I went to this other Best Buy because they had Judgment and stuff there, so I went to go get it. But yeah, anywhere that I tried to find that game for Switch, literally so. And then after Black Friday was over, you go maybe 4 days later, it's all filled up again. But yeah, it was sold out for Switch.
Also, my favorite part of this game is that it has very hilarious adult humor in it. And by the way, Trouser Snake makes his triumphant return. So
nice.
There's a character named Trouser, and he is a snake.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Y'all think y'all slick.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure the queen bee makes a Viagra joke somewhere in there. I'm not 100% sure because I accidentally hit A when I was reading it to skip it, but I'm pretty sure there's a Viagra joke in there too.
I might buy this tonight. So
yeah, it's there's some of the like it's like really bad dirty dad jokes, I would call them.
It's for the people who grew up playing those originals.
Yeah.
That are now older.
Yeah, and it also takes a lot of the jokes from like Banjo and Donkey Kong 64 and kind of like updates them and makes them just it's so good. I love Yooka-Laylee so much.
Yeah.
So, but that's my number 4. I know we spent way longer talking about Yooka-Laylee than it had any right to be talked about, but it's so good.
Not necessarily. I think it's completely worth talking about. It's like
one of the other games so far that I haven't really paid attention to at all. So
yeah.
Well, and it's the one of the games for Switch that I like want more than anything. Yeah. Because I've been eyeing it up.
Also, Ray, if you didn't play the first one, it's on Game Pass.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Sweet. There you go. Now.
So
you want Ray to play anything? Put it on Game Pass.
Yeah.
All right, Ray. What is your number 4?
All right.
As you take your sip.
I had to take a sip because this is
That's a nice time to take a sip. Anybody see that Conan cut clip where he's talking to the German guy and he's like, Conan asks him a question and then takes a sip of his coffee and he's like, "Oh, that's a good sippy time." And he's like, "That's a good time to take a sip. You ask a question, then you take a sip." And he's like, and then he takes a sip, and Conan's like, "You don't have to announce when you're taking a sip." And then the German guy's like, "Take a little sip with me." And then they go on and talk about like German translations of movies, and like they're talking about Die Hard, and he said the German translation for Die Hard is die very slowly. Because it doesn't, like, the translations aren't always exact.
Yeah.
And then they were talking about Gorillas in the Mist, and he's like, I think it's called like Foggy Gorillas or something. Is the translation.
Wow.
Somehow we got some foggy gorillas. Yep.
At least we aren't talking about toe knuckles this week.
Oh God, no.
Do you like those gifts I sent you, Ray, on Twitter?
I did see that. I was so mad at you. It was so random, like out of nowhere. Like
What?
Oh, nothing.
No,
Ed.
I
Don't
got
worry about it.
I got up early to go to the bathroom, and I was scrolling through Twitter, and I noticed Ray posted something, so I just sent him an animated GIF of somebody scrunching their toes and just said toe knuckles.
Oh,
It was during an episode you weren't on, I think. So
Yeah, that was a wild episode, Ed. You missed out.
no, that was the one we did before.
no. Anyways,
No,
Ray,
I think you missed that. But,
No,
Ray, what's
'cause
your
you're just
number
like,
four?
I
That
don't
might have been the
nothing
one
to do
I
with
wasn't on.
toenails.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, maybe
Yeah.
it was Jesse.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys were here, I would know. Anyway, this was really hard for me because, like I said, I shuffled this a few times. Number 4 for my 5 game of the year is Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Nice.
Now, this game is meaty. That's a bad word.
Yeah.
But this game has so much content. That one playthrough for me, I think, took at least. I wish I should have looked before we started. I think I did like 115 hours for my first playthrough.
Understandable.
And I loved it. Like it was all over the place. You know, the I guess what do you want to call it? The waifu simulator. You know, everything else, like exploring the school, like getting to know the students. And my first playthrough, I barely recruited any students. That's the craziest part. Like, I think I recruited like maybe 3 extra students, you know? And so I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I just take my time when I'm playing games. It's different for me. And I don't know, but I had a really good time with this game, like start to finish. It was a long time, but it was a good time. You know what I'm saying? I loved Fire Emblem. Like Fire Emblem Awakening got me back into Fire Emblem. I had been away from Fire Emblem for years until Awakening came out. And then there were some games in between Awakening and this one then came out, and I was like, no, these aren't for me. So, but this one definitely hit the nail on the head, and I really enjoyed it. I actually want to play it again, you know, because there's 3 different stories that you could experience, and I want to play all of them. So I don't know when I'm going to do that, but maybe at some point next year, that might be something I do. Is I'll start a Blue Lion playthrough. Who knows? But absolutely recommend Three Houses. If you have a Switch, another one of those must-haves. And I'll tell you right now, it's crazy that 2 Nintendo first-party games made it into my top 5 for the year.
It was literally one of the hardest games to find the day it came out because it sold out the day it came.
So,
That's crazy.
but it's a fantastic game, and I feel like if you guys love strategy games at all, this is one that you should absolutely have, because this game will beat you up if you want strategy. It's good at that. So
Definitely, it's that game. Yeah, I don't know if I could have said it any better. That game just does a lot of interesting things in terms, like I'll talk about it later. But it's
Yeah.
I really love Fire Emblem.
phenomenal
Yeah,
game.
and the thing is, like, you know, and obviously, like, doing what we do, we've kind of, you know, we're all gonna have our own interests and stuff like that. And you know, that game didn't make it in my top 10, but it's a game that if it was to win game of the year, I would completely agree with, because I've played it, you know, and I can tell that it's a great game. It's just not for me personally. So, but like, yeah, I mean, it does a lot of things, you know, from what I've played. I made the mistake of I would randomly just talk to people, and if it was someone I could recruit, I'd just hit recruit. So that's how I picked my.
It's just like, I'm not even going to strategize. You just you just gonna roll with me.
Me.
Yeah, I'd take you all in if I could, because that's how I am.
Wow. So Jesse, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is Sekiro. such an amazing game. Like I'm not even good at it.
Not even good at
but there's just the experiences like right off the bat of just like the care, like it's just a mix of everything from how interesting and cool looking the characters are to just the fact that I had played it for hours and hours and hours and didn't even realize that some dude was hiding up at the top of this mountain that I could totally go to and get a new weapon thing for my arm. And I had played it for hours and hours and hours and didn't even realize this dude was there. Like it just, but that's kind of like the way it is. It's like, it's not a really big world that you're kind of, you know, traversing through, but it's built like, you know, like upwards, and so you can like kind of just, there's all these like secret little hidden like areas that you can find if you're, as long as you just kind of are looking for the right thing, or like, you know, it just, I don't know, man. It just was such an amazing game, and like the bosses are super interesting, and the like just the weird things that they have. Like there's this one part where like you're by a water area, and you like there's this like fish basket, like, you know how like a lot of times in I believe in like in China or Japan, like they'll kind of have like a wicker basket thing that's kind of for when they catch fish that they put in, and then I think they can put it in the water, you know, to kind of like what we have, you know, like you put the thing in the water and then it keeps the fish in the water but keeps them trapped or whatever. There's like one of those sitting in the water, and you see it like the top of it like bouncing, and then you go over to it and some weird dude is just in there that you talk to. And there's just like weird things like that, and like by far the whole snake part where you're on the sides of the cliff that they showed, where you're kind of trying to avoid the snake, and then you get to the point of where you finally can like try to kill him, you know, like stab your sword through his head. That whole part was just amazing, and like just a lot of fun, and just like I think was probably the highlight so far of what I've played of it. Because honestly, like I said, I'm not really that good at it, so I really haven't gotten that far. It is a game though that I really would like to go back to and just kind of put the time in that I need to put in to get better at the game. Mm-hmm. Because there is still so much for me to experience. But like the sound in that game is amazing. Like I said, the character building in that game is amazing. The whole, like, I like the whole concept of the arm that you can put different like things on and stuff, and you know, have like different things, you know, like each character has kind of got like its almost weaknesses or things that you can use that work best on certain characters but aren't as effective as others. Like there's just the complex like setup of how everything works in that game just works perfectly, and it makes you think, and it's just an all around amazing game. And like honestly, like, you know, like when it got picked for you know, like as high as it did, because didn't it win Game of the Year on
the Game Awards?
Yeah. So like I was not surprised, honestly. I mean, I guess partially I wasn't sure how many people would have played it to vote on it for that, you know, but after it happened, I'm just like, yeah, that, you know, that game deserves a lot of respect. Like it's an amazing game. So
yes. Well, everybody, my number 4 is Remnant from the Ashes. This is a game that me and Jesse saw at the PC Gaming Awards, and we literally was just like, this is a must-have. Like, we got to play this. And then me and Jesse got it. We played together, beating the bosses, like staying up to like 1-3 o'clock in the morning, and like getting do stuff and going to back and forth to each other games. It's just like explore, like the combat is so good, like the shooting and the fighting in this game is so good. It gets frustrating a little bit at times, but it's just like if you have someone working with you, it makes the experience more better. Not saying that it makes it easier, but it's just like you really feel like you got each other's back in that game. You know,
you really definitely have to set up a plan going in, or otherwise you're just gonna fail miserably.
Yes. So I definitely need to return back to this game. I really want to beat it. Remnant from the Ashes, like I'm like, for a game that they just show, like no one knew about it. Showed it at the PC game, and then like 2 months the game was out. Like that's crazy. And it's a really great game. I really enjoyed this game. So that is my number 4. So boss, what is number 3 for you?
My number 3 is something that I almost feel like could have been higher if Jesse and I have been playing Gears 5 together, and Gears 5 is my number 3. Mechanically, I think that game is sound. I think, playing through your first time on one of the hardest difficulties is probably not the smartest thing to do. And I think that kind of hindered at least our experience the first time through. But I did start the campaign over today just on easy, because I want to just kind of, I wanted to remind myself how good that game was, and just playing through it a little bit today. Just it's a beautiful game. It's the best feeling Gears game to date. It's doing something really different and interesting with the story this time around, and I do like the story in Gears. I know a lot of people that haven't really played through all of them kind of look at that and just think it's a bunch of roided out no neck dudes shooting monsters, which kind of is, but there is a story in there that's worth paying attention to, and
care about each other, bro. Exactly the sum of the whole story. That one sentence I just said.
One sentence. Anyways, characters are cool. I like Kate. I like that you're playing through her story. I like that they kind of put the focus on the new class, if you will, and the old characters are there and they play a role, but they're not so front and center. It's not like there's some people that say that this is the Force Awakens of Gears, which kind of gives you a new crew but brings back the old crew and makes it comfortable, which that was totally Gears 4. I totally believe that, but Gears 5, the open areas, though, they feel like they weren't like finished, or like they didn't flesh out the ideas they had, but I think it's an interesting idea that I hope does something in the next game more interesting, because I do like the open areas that you can explore, and there's side missions and unique things that you can get going through there, and finding parts for Jack and everything. I like that. I like where the story's going, and mechanically sound. And Horde mode is probably the best it's ever been. Multiplayer is super fun. The character skins are awesome. The Christmas skins right now are just amazing. By the way, those are cool. So Gears 5 is my number 3. I don't really have much left to say about it. I still stand that Gears 5 is, at least to me, is Xbox One's best exclusive.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
So.
Like the only thing I want to add is unfortunately I did not put it in my top 10. I did enjoy it, but But yeah, I think like my problem was we were just having too many like technical issues, and like playing. I think it just was not a good. It's not a good idea to play it co-op like until that gets fixed.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues playing co-op. Like it just technical issues. Like we would be hiding inside buildings and we would die, and it would be, I would see Jesse blow up and there were no enemies around, or some of these bigger enemies would take 4, 5, 6 clips to even do a little bit of damage to, and then we would hide and we would just die out of nowhere. Those kinds of things, and I don't know if it's like a connection to like whoever's hosting has bad internet, or if there's like connection to server issues through co-op or whatnot. But yeah, anytime I played solo, I was having a blast, and no connection issues, no what they in the original trilogy would call bullet lag, like nothing like that or anything. But every time I played with Jesse, it was just a mess, and it was just a struggle to even see where the enemies were coming from, and let alone shooting them and making sure we weren't getting glitched out or bugged. So
because I don't remember if you were on the show when we talked about this, Ray, but when we shut the game off because we were trying to play through a part one night, and I'm like, we'll give it one more shot. And we were going against the final boss, so there's like a part where you had to beat the boss, and then you had to go to this part where you set up a satellite or whatever, and then you do that part. But we had to beat this one boss part where there's like a whole bunch of guys coming and stuff like that, and all of a sudden, literally out of nowhere, every bad guy on the map just spontaneously combusts, and then all of a sudden we blew up and died.
Yeah, it was like
what the heck just happened?
It was probably like 10 or 12 incendiary grenades went off, and every single enemy was like on fire, and then like just out of nowhere, like we were in a building and we just both died, like just out of nowhere, just. And
died. I'm like, okay, wow. I'm done.
and there were no windows in this building, and there was one door in and out, and there were no enemies in the vicinity of the building.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just like, so I was just so frustrated at that point. I'm like, okay, we can call it a night.
And Jesse and I have talked about it. Like I do like the way Gears 5 feels, but it also still feels behind games like The Division, for example. In terms of third-person shooting and movement, feels so much better still than Gears. And I know Gears is going for more of a more tactical kind of, you really got to feel like you're one of these characters, but like Kate,
like a bulky, heavy dude, you got to feel. They make it feel too heavy.
But like they changed the art direction on these characters somewhat, and like Kate is a small character, like Kate is a small character. Dell is a relatively small character. The only kind of beefy character in your squad is JD kind of at the beginning, right? And like I want Kate to feel agile and like she can move around the battlefield without having to, like, Kate shouldn't feel like Marcus, right, from the first trilogy, and she still feels like you're playing as Marcus or one of the characters from the first game, and I hope in whatever they're doing next with Gears, and I know Gears Tactics is coming soon, which looks great, but I really hope they're moving in a direction that they want to change Gears, and I like that. I hope their next step is to change the way the characters feel on the battlefield, because I really feel heavy.
I wonder what they're testing, because they're probably in pre-production for Gear 6 now.
They were in pre-pro before Gears 5 even came out.
But I don't think the system. I don't think they have like the dev kits and stuff ready or anything. I'm just saying that right in the story, drawing, like getting and like animated characters and like they're just probably testing like research and developing right now.
Well,
They have to.
I'm sure they're like. I'm sure they're like testing the crap of how they want their character, like the next step, right? Like they're gonna gather all the information they can before they, really get into full production. But like they already know all that stuff, and I just really hope that there is enough feedback out there that says we need these characters to feel a little bit better, because that's literally my only gripe with the game is just. The characters still feel heavy. I want them to feel.
I think that's an engine problem, honestly.
I don't know though, because like
it would add another layer of depth to give every character a unique movement,
and
which if they had more time,
and
it would take a lot more finesse.
Jesse and I actually talked about that at one point, where like. How do you make Gears feel different enough from these other third-person shooters that have come out since Gears 1, right? And we talked about a class system where, like, okay, and they tried to do that a little bit, but only in Horde mode. And in Escape, I think they did it a little bit too. But, like, where specific characters are specific classes, where Kate is clearly the sniper and Dell is an engineer and Jack does his own thing and JD is the soldier type, where like they have different stats and stat bonuses and weaknesses and stuff. But like I do want the characters, I want it to be more dramatic. I want it to be like Overwatch or something, where like there is that dramatic feel of how different these characters feel.
Are they running it on? Is it Unreal 4?
Yeah.
For the engine?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But like,
they just.
And I don't want to spend too much longer on this, but like, I want Kate to feel like Lara did in Tomb Raider, right? Like I want her to feel agile and like she can move and climb if she needs to, or maybe it is time to add a jump button to Gears, like, and I know that takes away from what Gears is, but maybe it is time to move away from that.
Halo had a sprint eventually.
I really think whatever engine Halo Infinite is it Power Space or Power something?
It's called the Slip Space engine. It's their own internal engine.
I think Gear 6 is going to be running on their engine.
No, because everything else Microsoft is doing besides Halo right now is running on Unreal.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Going forward, I think they're probably going to do like the EA thing where everybody.
I don't think so, because not all the EA studios are using Frostbite. But anyways, this is a discussion for a different podcast. I just that my point was like that was my only gripe with Gears is that they still feel like you're moving tanks around a battlefield, and I want them to feel more agile. I think. It doesn't get talked about enough, but I think the Division 2 is the pinnacle of third-person shooting right now. And I don't even play the Division. So
that's the debatable.
And you still think Resident Evil 4 is a good game. Go away.
It is. It's a classic. Ray, what is your number 3? I will speak to you later about that.
Ray's like, I'm quitting.
We'll better. Anyway, my number 3. So, Apple Arcade came out this year and really kind of changed the way that I use my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you remember there was a time where it's like, oh yeah, you can play games on your phone, and everybody did it for a bit, and then nobody cared. And I was absolutely one of those people that I use my phone as a phone. I watch videos, I call people, and I text people, and that was it. That was all these phone were. But then Apple Arcade came on. They're like, hey, here's a subscription service where you can just download decent games and play them and not have to buy them. Because I hate gacha mechanics. I hate, hey, give us money to play our game longer. Or hey, give us money to progress. I hate that stuff. It's stupid. But Apple Arcade doesn't allow that. And now we have amazing, full-fledged, which is awesome. And my number 3 is Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Yes.
Gorgeous. It sounds incredible. Another game that the music, I need it on vinyl. I don't want to listen to it often. The controls are easy to use, and the story is beautiful. I loved every minute of this game. It's so easy to just pick up, play a chapter, put it down, come back, and still just have a good time all the way through. And I encourage anybody with an iPhone with access to Apple Arcade, or anybody with a device that this is on, because I know it's on Switch, I know it's on PlayStation, I don't know if it's on Xbox, I know it's on I don't even know if it's on PC, but I know it's on PlayStation and Switch.
I think it is on Xbox.
Xbox. Okay. Well, if you can get it on any of these devices, play this game. I don't know why, but I feel like it might be best suited on a Switch or a phone. But I want you to play this game.
It's $12.99 on Switch right now.
It's cheap, and I don't want to say it's short, but it's worth the time. Like, it's worth the time that it takes. And I love this game, and I think I always will. Like, this is it's a special game. I like this.
Yes.
So that's number 3.
All right.
One of those games.
Just,
it's one of those. I didn't play it, but I did like turn on the music on a YouTube channel once and like just listen to it, and that soundtrack is just, it's phenomenal.
So, I love it.
All right, Jesse, what is your number 3?
My number 3 is the newest Modern Warfare. So, anyone who knows me knows that like first person shooters are your day. Yeah, they've been my go-to since basically since 007 came out, I think. Like, I mean, I've always played like Duke Nukem and like Wolfenstein and all that back on PC when the first Wolfenstein came out. I used to play those all the time, and Doom and Unreal Tournament. Like when I was a PC gamer, like I would be playing Unreal Tournament and all that kind of stuff. Quake 2. All that stuff has just kind of always been what I gravitated towards. But like modern, Call of Duty in general, like I never really got into playing the stories, like the campaigns really that much. Once the first Modern Warfare came out, that was like one of the first times that I actually played a campaign. And I loved it. And then the second one came out, and I loved it. And so once we were getting told that we were going to be getting a reboot of the Modern Warfare franchise, I basically was like all in, and then we started seeing stuff about it, and I was excited, and I played the campaign, and honestly, like I was surprised how much I loved it. Like I would say that it probably exceeded my expectations for what I thought it was going to be. Was it perfect? Not really, but it still was like right up there, I feel like, for me anyways, with the original first campaign. Like I enjoy that they kind of put you in different settings and like different time periods, and even though you're jumping around, it still made sense to the story for me. And like they did the shooting and everything, amazing, like they always do. But like, making the characters different and not exactly like the original characters, but yet making them characters that you love and are interested in learning about, or like they did a great job, I feel like, with that. Like it honestly was, for a first person shooter campaign, it was amazing. Like I love it. I want to go through and play it again, actually. I love it so much.
I love the voice acting in the cutscenes. Like, this is probably one of their. This is one of their best serious stories, because it really felt like this could be a movie just itself. Like if you just watch the cutscenes, it could be a movie itself. I loved how they put the character development for Zephyra, I think the
Yeah.
female, like
Yeah,
they
the
really,
chick.
yeah, they really give her a story, and it's just like
Yeah.
playing through her childhood and just
Yeah,
going
that
through
was-
that. That was like,
That
wow,
was intense.
that was yeah. Um, uh, it's not on my list, and me and Jesse talked about it.
Mhm.
I kind of feel like this. I think Advanced Warfare in its level design was better. The shooting, to me, the shooting didn't matter in a sense in either of the Call of Duties, because sometimes it feels the same. But I do like this one. I like the sound effects and I like the feel of it.
Yeah.
I think the problem that I had, my frustration was fighting the enemies, seeing the enemies and stuff. It was really hard to see them, and
Yeah.
you was really getting shot from different places, and you didn't really have no time to react. So
Yeah.
I think the reaction time was kind of unfair to it, but like it really is a great game. I think this is probably one of their best story driven games for their campaign. And like I said, the cutscene and their voice acting, like they really did a phenomenal job. Like I want to see where they go with Modern Warfare 2.
Well, it's in my opinion, like hands down. If you're like taking the best of the best, the One X, putting it on a 4K TV that lets you take complete advantage of every single bit of the graphics and look. I'll tell you right now that I challenge any game from this generation could not come close to how amazing this game looks. Like I honestly thought some of those cutscenes were actual video cutscenes. I didn't until I really looked at it. I'm like, holy crap! This isn't video. This is like actual in-game engine.
Didn't they use
I
Blur?
could not believe it.
Would you say, Gordon?
Didn't they use Blur for the first time for their cutscenes?
Yeah, I believe so. I know there is something different that they had to have used because it's insane how realistic it looks.
Yeah.
I could not believe that it wasn't video.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew it was.
That game
I knew
looks
it
good,
was
but I
like
have a game on my list that looks better. Believe it or not.
I seen when I was looking at the cutscenes, I knew that it was animated.
Well, you can tell at a certain point, but
at first
like
glance,
it's not until they first get up like zoomed in onto their face that you could really tell. Like it just looks so real.
Yeah.
It was insane. But the only other thing too is that I want to add is the multiplayer too is just phenomenal. They've got so many great things going on in multiplayer. They have I feel like this is the first Call of Duty that they really took the time to try to come up with something unique and something different, and just really try to, for once, not feel like just another Madden or just another game where it's just got a different look, but it's still the same exact thing that you did in the last game. It really feels like they did something different, and it actually feels like a different game for once in a long time, and not just them putting it in space or something. It actually feels different, and that's why I think for me that it hit so well. Is it really felt like they put the time and effort into this game to really try to do something that feels different and looks different and but at the same time is still got all the things that make Call of Duty great. So yeah, it's my number 3.
Well, my number 3 is Astral Chain. Platinum, they clown with this. The animations, the way the city looks, it's just the graphics. I'm like, y'all did this on a Switch. It's bunkers good. Just started the game on the highway shooting this stuff, and I'm just like,
find out the hard it sells itself immediately.
Yes,
It does not waste time.
like they are right just the cold open is straight bunkers before they get even into the game. Like it's funny because my characters are black. The brother and sister are black, and I got a white dad. So I'm assuming the mom was white. I mean, the mom was black. Like the character customization is really good because you can change the skin color, the hair. You can play as the guy or the girl. And I picked the girl, and it's just like fast paced action. The controls get take some time to get used to, but when you and your helper are going at it on the monster and tripping them and making them fall all the way back, and then y'all just going to beat the crap out of them and everything. It's so much fun. It's like the little details. Of course, because I like detective games, I love the little detective stuff that you do before you go into the next world and fight and stuff. So the story is very intriguing. You like what is going on. I want to know what this is. But it's really, really good. So Astral Chain is my number 3. So we're getting close to our number 1s, everybody. So Corey, what is your number 2?
My number 2, I went back and forth between my number 1 and number 2 for weeks now, and it was really hard, but my number 2, a very close number 2, is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. It's not the best game on the list that I made by any means, but it's the game I had the most fun with, outside of, maybe a couple others. But, like, it's the one game I remember the most, just, really getting into it. Couldn't wait to get to the next story beat or the next area or the next secret. Like, I booted it up today, and I was trying to unlock a full map and unlock all the secrets and stuff because I do think it's a game that I want to go and try to get all the achievements on, just because it's that much fun to play. And it's at the end of the day, it's not gonna change anything or the way I feel about Star Wars or anything, because like I'm a casual Star Wars fan. I would say, like, I enjoy the movies. I'm really enjoying The Mandalorian. I like a couple of the games that came out, but like I really like the story in this game, and I'm really glad the ending was not spoiled for me. It's still just I like this group of characters, and I like that it expands the Star Wars universe, because like it takes place in a whole galaxy, right? But it still feels so small. It's still, the movies are still revolving around the same characters and the same, even the side stories they did, like Rogue One and Solo, are still revolving around the characters that we already know, right? And this totally changes that, right? And just seeing that, oh man, the Star Wars universe is bigger than the Skywalkers, right? And it's just it feels way better, and in the combat is fun. The lightsaber customization, I can't tell you how, probably hours of lightsaber customization. Like every time I found a workbench, I was like, no, let's change the color. Oh, let's change the hilt or the wrapping or the emitters, or what I mean. Like it just, it was fun. I like as soon as I got the mechanics of the battle down, like battling down, it just, I don't know, it just changed from a good game to a great game for me, and it's definitely one of the best games of the year, I feel like. And I think even if you're not a Star Wars fan, maybe give it a shot, because it does a lot of cool things. I like the maps, and the BD1 is definitely the best character in the games I played this year. So and like I like the crew too. Like your ship mates are fun. Grease is a cool captain of the ship, and Sears is a cool kind of mentor character, and like it really works, I feel like. And the fact that like the opening like this game takes place, I think, 4 years after Order 66, and the fact that, you know, they're salvaging Clone Wars ships with TIE fighters flying overhead is like finally seeing something where the prequel trilogy merges with the original trilogy in some way besides like Darth Vader is just it was like, oh man, that's right, they are like connected, you know, and the way people talk about the prequels and the original trilogy and the new trilogy, like even though that it's all like one story, it doesn't feel connected. And this just like the opening 20 minutes kind of made me feel like, oh man, this universe is connected and there is a timeline here, and this does connect to this somehow. Like it really works. So, but yeah, so Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is my number 2.
Yes. Ray, what is your number 2?
So my number 2 would have been Jedi Fallen Order, but this game actually came out again this year, so this game gets to take that place. So on a caveat, Jedi Fallen Order didn't make the list officially because of this game, but know that it technically is on the list because this game took its place. But the number 2 on my list is Divinity Original Sin 2. And that's because it re-released on the Switch this year. But I also played it for the first time this year, so it works out for me. Let me tell you.
You mean I could have put Hellblade on my list? Because it came out on Switch this year.
Did it re-release this year?
It came out on Switch this year.
Did you play it this year for the first time?
No.
Oh, then no. So anyway,
Just shut down.
We make our own
Original
rules,
Sin 2
everybody.
is probably it is one of the best games I've ever played. Ever. In terms of the setting, the characters, the stories that all of these characters have, and the possibilities of the stories that you can discover in this world is insane. I think I spent 120 plus hours in this game on my first playthrough, and there are still days where I'm like, I should just boot up Divinity, play Divinity some more. Like, I loved the stories that you got, like the relationships that the characters develop and that they have, and the ones that you can lose along the way, based on your decisions, and the puzzles that you can solve based on making certain decisions or just taking random guesses and taking chances and doing things. There's so many things that you can do in this game that if you have the patience for, like some games you spend a lot of time in and the payoff is very small. It's very minimal.
Yes.
But in this game, you put the time in and the payoff is massive, and it feels good when you spend time going down a quest path, and at the end, it's like, oh wow, either that story was incredible, or what you were able to do was insane, or the loot was awesome. It's just, it all works out. I don't know, like, it's one of those games that I'm like, wow, I can't believe it took me this long to play this game, but I'm so glad that it exists. And this game is considered an indie game, y'all. This game is considered an indie game, and it is 100% AAA worthy. It's so crazy, but this game is fantastic. And now you have no excuse, because I think you can play it on every console that you have, except your phones and your tablets. Mm-hmm. It's on the Switch, PlayStation, it's on the Xbox, it's on the PC. It's a very long.
Yeah, and it's free, isn't it?
I don't think it's free.
No, you have to pay for
it. Or is it on Game Pass?
No, that's Path of Exile is free.
Path of Exile just came out, which is also a great game. Yeah. It's not
yeah, Pillars of Eternity is out now on Game Pass as well. But
wait, Path of Exile is a different game. Pillars of Eternity is the one that just came out. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the RPG one. Path of Exile is more Diablo-ish.
Yeah. It's the old game, original.
That one's free, and it just had a huge update recently. So
yeah.
But no, Divinity is everything I think I've ever wanted in a game. I'm talking good music, good characters.
Obviously not everything, because it's not your number one.
Well, you'll find out what number one is, what it is, and it's because it's missing one very important thing.
Okay. So
you'll find out why.
We're going to get to Jesse's number 2, because Sir Lennon, our Arsenal X...
Oh, he had walked past.
Yes, our Arsenal X mascot, I guess, is somewhat joining us still.
Yeah, he's been sleeping down there. I've had to turn my mic off to so you didn't hear us snoring a couple of times.
Hey, he's back there snoring. Yeah,
I wish my wife could mute my snoring. So
Snoring.
my wife just punches me and pushes me over.
Ooh, wow. And I have nobody, so I'm single. Everybody.
is that a
Heard that,
is that a-
everybody?
is that
Single.
a is that a public
Yeah.
service announcement, or is that just
Yeah.
like
Now I'm taking it
don't
that way.
bother me?
Hey, y'all, he's single.
I want
Ready to mingle.
is you. Oh no, Jesse!
Oh,
no, not today, Satan. Not today.
Oh, no.
Jesse.
So you're telling me all these years Mariah Carey's been singing about Edward Varnell in that song?
Yep.
Probably, actually.
Ed
That's
could
what she's
do
saying.
better.
Because he was like, I don't want none of your nonsense.
I'm good.
Ed can do better. All right, it's my number 2 is Remnant from the Ashes.
I thought,
No.
I assumed that was your number 1, so this is good. All right.
No, I know what his number 1
Yeah,
is.
no, yeah.
Jesse's already said 3 games that I thought were going to be his number 1. So.
Well, I was certain that this is the game that I've heard Jesse talk about the most all year.
I know.
Yeah,
Actually know what Jesse's number 1 because we talked about it so many times.
yeah, because it replaced my number 1 game ever. So, but yeah, so Remnant from the Ashes. I like me and Ed started playing together, because I had played it by myself and then, helped Ed kind of get to the point of where I was. And then we beat the point that I was at. And then he joined me on my game. And then we beat the point where he was at.
Yeah.
And then I was having way too much fun with it. And then I think the next day or so, I ended up playing a whole bunch. And now I'm to where the world opens up. So the way this game works is in the beginning, for the most part, things are procedurally generated. And you can have a different beginning to the game than other people. I think there's 3 or 4 different ways that the beginning part can play out. Depending on how your game generates it. But then once you get to that point, now I'm at a point where I went through this portal thing. And so the idea of it is all these gods have been, I don't know if they were captured or something happened where these alternate universes are being overtaken by this evil or something like that, and you've got to try to restore order to these creatures that are kind of like the gods of these different realms and stuff. And so you have to go through these levels and kind of help win their power back so they can kind of be one again and be able to take order back of these different universes. And so each one of these universes is accessed by a portal. And I'm in this part that's called I forget, it's something labyrinth. But basically, you've got to beat these different areas in different order, in a certain order, to be able to, go from portal to portal and turn each one, on, so you can progress. And it's just cool, the whole procedurally generated stuff. How me playing through a game could be completely different than what Ed is going to experience playing through. And for me, that's really what's made this game so unique and so interesting. And I honestly hope that we see more and more games doing this. And, with the next generation being as powerful as it sounds like it's going to be, I could see this being more and more of a thing. We're already getting it, but I feel what they're doing in this, just the fact that you could go through a game that's just so vast, and they're not just small little platforming levels that are procedurally generated. These are massive big chunks of world that you're exploring that are, completely procedurally generated. And the fact that all these areas could be completely different, and just the game be completely different if you were to start it over again. That like you could play through it and it would be completely different from the last time you played it. Like it's just very cool the way that they kind of worked all that stuff into this game. I had never played any of the Darksider games.
Darksiders.
Darksiders. Yeah.
Oh, because
so so I played Darksiders 3 recently, and that's a good game. Those kind of games aren't exactly my thing. Like the whole like those, I don't know. I just like, it's not a bad game. It's just doesn't capture me as well. But like I could definitely see then like where like if you've played Darksiders 3, these worlds are very similar to that game because it is made by the same people and the same engine, I'd imagine. But what they did is they just threw a heavy procedurally generated world type mechanic into that game. So it would be like when you play Darksiders 3 and your friend played Darksiders 3, it would look completely different. Like that's basically the best way to explain it if you've played those games. But yeah, like in the shooting and the meleeing and like the Bloodborne, Dark Souls style, stuff of the like evading attacks works really well. Like the creatures are different and interesting enough. Like by no means is this game like the most beautiful looking polished game in the world. Like you can tell that it's more of a passion project that will hopefully spark something better and new, as we move forward into the next console generation. But like, yeah, the second I seen this game, like, like I'd said earlier, I fell in love with it like instantly. And like when I started playing this game did not let me down in the slightest. Like it was everything that I was hoping it was. And I've just been having an amazing time with it, and I definitely cannot wait to play more co-op with you guys on this game, because I know you, Corey, haven't even really gotten a chance to play it at all yet.
No, I downloaded it. I downloaded a lot off of Game Pass the last couple of weeks just because Game Pass is great and games show up that you're excited for.
My thing that I was going to suggest to you is that you do play it solo at first, because there is technically some stuff that you have to do before you can play co-op anyways. It's, like you've kind of got to get started in the game before you can actually do co-op. So I suggest you just, try it, start it and try it and get to that point at least. Because like the way I'm not a big fan of like games that are very grindy. Yeah. Like that was another thing I wanted to say about this game is like, I don't like grind in games a lot of the times, but I did not mind it in this game because it was just everything about it was so fun and so like smooth, and the controls work well and everything. So it was fun. It was very similar to my experience with Sekiro. I enjoyed like resetting the level just for the heck of it, so I could just go around and grind and get more things that I needed or more money so I could buy certain things or whatever. Like the world and the characters and everything is just so interesting that I didn't mind the grind at all. Like it didn't even feel like it was a grind. It just felt like I was just having fun playing the game, and ultimately, like when a game can do that for me, that's super important, because like as much as I've enjoyed RPGs and stuff in the past, like that grind is just sometimes it loses me on games a lot. So yeah, like this game is definitely something that people need to check out. And it's not for everyone by any means, but if you like Sekiro type games, or or the Darksiders type games and stuff like that, it's like those, but with like a more shooting and a mix of shooting and melee. So it's definitely a great game. So
all right. Well, my number 2 game is Gears 5. Corey spoke about it. We all talked about it. One thing I just want to add to this, I love the artwork of this game. This game looks gorgeous. And I kind of like a little bit of the open world ideas that they had in it. Some of the set design, not set design, like the setups and everything were kind of cool. JD is yum. That's all I'm going to say. When he comes back with the beard and the muscles, and I was just like, "Ooh, hotness!" Yes.
Ed gets a little
people.
excited.
He's not single anymore, guys. No,
Yes, you're right. Take it now.
Yeah, he's a hottie. I was just like, "Oh, Gears." You gave us a serve. But I really did enjoy this game. I love the creepy atmosphere of this. The shooting was good. I didn't play the game co-op. I played the whole thing single player. And me and Ray have a discussion that you guys could check out. Kind of a little bit of a spoiler cast, and just ideas of where the story can go. Because this now it's up to anything, and if you don't know the twist, you need to play the game to understand where it could go. So
yeah,
Gears 5 is my number 2. So everybody, we are down to the final games. Our number ones. Corey, what is your number 1 game of the year?
Well, to no surprise to anyone, it's Fire Emblem Three Houses. It was, I don't want to spend too much time on it because we talked about it quite a bit on the show already, but just the way especially the second half of the game made me feel. In the first half of the game, you build these relationships and you learn about these characters' relationships with other characters, not just you, and you learn they make jokes and have eat lunch together and play off of each other, and kind of it's a school environment, right? Like it's very it's very Harry Potter-esque, right? And it goes from Harry Potter to Game of Thrones real quick, where you like the second half of the game is like, not to get super spoilery or anything, but like you're literally killing your friends for what you believe in, and it's a hard, like when you kind of, as you're playing through the game and you realize that that's literally what's happening, you kind of get this weird, like, at least I did, had this weird kind of sadness and weird just kind of pit in my stomach playing through the rest of that game, and there's a sadness to it, that these kids are literally doing something bad because they believe what they're doing is good, and it's very sad to play through from that perspective, and the gameplay and the outfits that come out for those games characters are very interesting, to put it lightly, and they just came out with I got an update today, and I turned it on and it said new outfits available. I said, not looking at those right now. So I don't know, I just taking like all the weird things that people think about anime sometimes anyway, that aren't maybe as informed as they should be or something, like the story was sad. It was a sad story, and that's something that is going to stick with me for a while, and it's I really do want to play through the other houses at some point, but it's gonna have to wait because I not only are there other games to play, but like that sadness I felt is something that I don't really want to feel again right away, and
I completely understand. That's why I did my full playthrough, and I was like, all right, I'll be back at some point. Because, I 100% agree with you on that.
Yeah, and a lot of people that listen to this will probably play with the sound down, not really care about the story, do that kind of things. But I did, and that's what I felt playing this game. And it's been, what the joy I felt playing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, that feeling of sadness was just as equal playing Fire Emblem Three Houses the second half of the game. And I don't know if a Nintendo game specifically has ever made me feel that way. In terms of sadness, most of them are joyful or have a happy ending, or like even just has like
that's Fire Emblem though.
I know that, but I'm just saying I know like Fate's kind of had not a similar story, but almost like a similar sadness to it. Because you're fighting for your family in that game, and you got to decide, is your blood your family or your adoptive family your family, and so that's why Fire Emblem is my number one, because of how the game actually got a real feeling out of me, and on top of the excellent gameplay and characters and design and stuff. So Fire Emblem Three Houses is my game of the year.
Ray, what is your number one?
All right. So when people get to know me, they learn a few things. First, I'm very positive, upbeat. That's a thing.
Yes.
Second, I love anime. Anime is one of the things that I really, really, really enjoy. And third, I love to have a good time. I like to have fun.
Don't you have an anime podcast? Aren't you on one?
I do.
What's that called?
Lately.
What's that called, Ray?
It's a great show that we record every Tuesday night. It goes up usually Wednesday or Thursday. And I also review episodes of My Hero Academia every Saturday. So, yeah. But beyond that, my game of the year is Devil May Cry 5. That game is everything that I just said. It is a damn good time. It is so anime.
True.
And it's very, very positively going to mess you up, because let me tell you, this game is gorgeous. I love the Devil May Cry series. But I will say that after 4, I was kind of like, okay, I don't really know where the series is going to go. But then this game came out, and it is for me, the perfect Devil May Cry game. The combat is fast, fluid, and just absolutely bonkers. The animations that they have built into this game are unlike any other for a game of this speed. You can see everything.
Which is weird because that engine was built for Resident Evil and Monster Hunter, which are very deliberate and slow games.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying. This engine is so versatile, and they use it to perfection, I think, for this series, which is the craziest part to me. The weapons are insane. The characters even more over the top and nuts. Like, when you finally get to play as Dante again, the whole game just 100% changes. And it's so good. My man gets a hat. He gets a hat.
It starts dancing.
It starts dancing like Michael Jackson. But not only that, this hat is almost probably one of the most OP things in the game, because you can now counter everything if you know how to use it correctly.
God mode.
It's only if you know how to use it correctly, though. And it also costs you money. Like, it costs you the in-game currency to use, which is the craziest part. But man, I love this game. And remember why we said that, Divinity sounds like a perfect game for me, and why it wasn't my number one? Yeah. It didn't have that anime flair, because this game has that, and it just does it for me. You know what I'm saying?
Cutscene wise is very anime.
Cutscene wise, boss fight wise.
Boss fight wise, that one is kind of iffy.
It is very anime. If you ever watch any anime and they have a fight with the main antagonist or one of the captains of the main antagonist, that was every fight in this game.
The main antagonist at the start of the game, super anime. Yes, that I agree.
Do you remember the night fight where you fought that knight with the lightning powers?
Yes.
One of the coolest fights in video games, period. It's so good. It is so good and so well done. Like you can play it out like an anime. It's nuts, and I love it. Like you get to choose how these fights go in this game. And actually, once you finish the game, you can go through it with all your powers, and it's even more nuts, which is nuts.
I will say I love the shop music. I was telling Corey this on Power. The shop music is probably one of the best songs that I heard this year in like video games. Like it's so also jazzy.
Has one of the best weapons in video games. Dante has a motorcycle that splits into 2 weapons that have blades on the end.
Yeah, and you gotta rev up your sword before you use it.
No, it's not a sword. No, it's not sword. This is a motorcycle.
Yeah,
splits in half. Yeah. And he can hit you with it, and then he can turn it back onto the motorcycle and ride it and hit you with it. It's so good.
And that's my only problem with this game. I really wish.
How is that a problem?
Because
it's Ed. Here we go.
Because I love that Dante has the versatility in this with the weapons and the moves, and I wish the other 2 characters had the same.
But they do. They have those things.
They don't though.
They're just not Dante, and that's the point. They're not Dante.
And that's what kind of ruins Devil May Cry 5 for me is because and I love DMC5.
They're other characters. They're completely different characters. You get to play Dante.
I love it, but once you get to Dante, you just be like, I don't want to play the other characters because they don't got the same craziness as Dante does.
But they also get their own craziness if you keep playing the game.
But it's kind of basic.
And it's like, it's Dante. You expect Dante to be the most badass. It's Dante.
It almost sounds like the opposite of 4, where like you play with Nero, who had this new like mechanic, and then like you get to Dante, and it kind of reverts back to like a simpler thing.
But I feel like in this game, they make them so they all have personality in their own way. They all play completely different. And I think that's why I love it. I love it so much because, yes, you get to Dante, and Dante's a whole different, crazy, wonderful style. But it's like, when I think of Dante, that's literally Dante. Nero plays like Nero, and V plays like V.
But Nero and V are just so... I was just like, you guys should have gave them more weapons and more moves.
I don't think so, because that was too much like Dante. And I like
it. It makes it exciting when you're finally playing as Dante. It feels like
exactly because I want it to be special when I'm playing as Dante.
Yeah.
Because the thing about playing with Dante, I'm like, okay, this is DMC Devil May Cry craziness, and I love it. Then I go to Nero, I'm like, oh, I'm playing Devil May Cry 4, but just faster, and I don't like.
Which is actually that makes that game perfect. By the way, it's faster, and Nero was great to play as in 4. So I don't see your complaint. Moving on, Devil May Cry 5. Fantastic game. Easily one of the most fun, some of the most fun I had, period, with a video game this year. I laughed and yelled and had a good time all the way through to the very end, including during the credits, which I love when games manage to somehow make you interact with the credits, and it's just a ton of fun.
Yeah, the credits are wonderful. So, I love that.
So what you're saying is I need to download I downloaded it off Game Pass.
Play it.
What you're saying is this would be like one of the first games to play during the 2020 backlog challenge when we
absolutely.
It literally don't take long to play.
No, this is, I won't say it's a short game, but it's not as long as some of the other games that we've played this year.
Yeah,
sure. So the fact that I played this game earlier this year and it still sticks out the most to me in my memory absolutely confirms why it's my game of the year.
And not for
me. I downloaded this game the second it was on Game Pass. And you talking about it throughout the year is why because I have been playing it. Mm-hmm. I didn't get super far. Like I just played it actually before I started cleaning before we started our show because I was getting some things in. There's one other game that I want to talk about that was later that was actually added to Game Pass just recently. That's freaking hilarious and so much fun. But yeah, like I'm loving this game so much, and Yeah, the only reason it wasn't in my top 10, honestly, is because I haven't experienced enough of it yet. But like it's just like a lot of my other games where I haven't put the time in, but I can see where it would be your game of the year, like, because it is amazing in what it's done so far that I've experienced. And just the hilariousness of the whole anime thing, like
and Ray, I'm not knocking DMC5 because I do love it. It's just
we have our own tastes.
Yeah,
but
it's way better than DMC4.
Oh, it's I feel like this is the best Devil May Cry game next to DMC. Period. Yeah. So, did I also mention the music in this game? Because every song is an absolute banger, and I also want this on vinyl. So yes, please, thank you.
One of my Twitter friends was just like, go back to the game and go to the music, and I'm just like, I know the theme song that they've been playing happens a lot throughout the game.
It's on my iTunes playlist, and it pops up every so often, and I'm worried I'm gonna get speed.
So now this game is in the RE engine?
Yeah.
Like the actual? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No wonder.
Yeah,
it does.
So,
it
like,
looks
when
so
you talk about Modern Warfare, it looks good. Devil May Cry looks incredible.
Yeah.
Best looking game this year. I'm sorry, is RE2, and we didn't talk about that, but like it's the best looking game.
I feel like we're about to.
Yeah. Okay. When they made Resident Evil, when they made Resident Evil 7, Capcom decided to go with that engine for the rest of the game because they were surprised on what they could get out of it and everything. So that's why most of the games like RE2, Monster Hunter World, and Devil May Cry 5, they all run on the same engine that Capcom built.
Yeah, and I'll clarify that here as well.
So Jesse, what is your number one?
Okay, so Resident Evil 2 has been my favorite game. The original one has been my favorite game that's ever existed since it came out, and that all changed the second that we got the remake of Resident Evil 2. Like this game, back on what we were kind of talking about, like Modern Warfare, like for me, when I said that it's like the best looking game, I meant like more of in like realism, where it just looked real. Yeah, it was more photorealistic. So I guess I kind of like that was a little confusing, I guess. But yeah, like Resident Evil 2, like it's just the attention to detail in that game is just beyond like amazing. Like I've watched videos of people playing it with ray tracing on and all that kind of good stuff that I can't wait to experience once the next Xbox comes out. But Resident Evil 2, like they, with the original one being my favorite game of all time, I was a little worried. Like whenever you hear like something that you absolutely love, the idea of it being redone, like sometimes it, can give you pause. But when this game came out and I finally got to play it and sat down, heck, even just playing the demo that they released, where you got to play for 2 hours, and once the 2 hours was up, then the game just shut off and you weren't able to play it anymore. The second I like just started playing this game, I was like, I could not believe how amazing it looked, and like in my opinion, they like did a better job from the, making this, better than the second one. Like they just blew any expectations away, like by a long shot that I had of this game. Like just from the subtle changes that they made into the game to make things feel better, whether it be cameras or just even the having the character, that's following you around the whole time. Like that whole mechanic of it like felt amazing, and just like I've never had this feeling before of so much like, you know, like feeling so tense and creeped out as with this game, like, because what they would do is, you know, like he would be following you around for a lot of the game, and all you would hear is just a like in the distance, so you could hear him walking, and it would get louder as he's getting closer to you, and then if he sees you, you know, like the walking sound would be quicker and things like that. And it was just like a constant, like, you're just always on edge, like okay, you know, where is he on the map right now? I have no idea. Okay, I need to get to this place, but am I going to run into him if I go this way, or should I go this way to try to get there? You know, like it was just like the whole entire time I was playing it, I just was like a smile on my face. I can guarantee you there was a smile on my face the whole time I was playing it, but at the same time I was like super tense and like like scared to go anywhere, because I'm like, am I gonna run into him, or you know, like they had the liquor things, which were, you know, much more difficult to take on, I feel like, in this game than the previous ones. I like that they didn't make things really seem like they were just bullet sponges like the original. It was more about where and how you attacked them. So like you could technically go through most of the game taking out all the zombies by just shooting their leg, and then that would make them fall down, and then just run over to them and just start knifing their limbs until all their limbs are cut off, and then they'll die. So like you can you can attack this game like in so many different ways when it comes to how you want to deal with things. You know, if you want to try to do the speed runs, like that's what a lot of people did for speed runs, is they would shoot them in the leg, make them fall down, then do that, you know, do the cutting their limbs, because sometimes it would be quicker to do it that way. And you wouldn't use as many bullets to kind of to save stuff. But yeah, man, and that's another thing too, is like there's just hasn't been any game other than this one this year that I found myself like going online and watching like what people did to try to, you know, get through a certain section faster, or you know, just like seeing how other people played the game, or like just like seeing what it looked like on PC, you know, like the differences in visual quality and things like that. Like this game has just been amazing, and I do want to go back, because like literally the second it came out, I got it, I beat it all the way through the first character, and then I beat it all the way through the second character right away, because I just wanted to experience the whole game like as fast as I possibly could, because I could not wait to just get the full experience. And just like some of the extra stuff they did, and like the add-on things that they have, and like there's parts of the story that they do that, you know, are just completely things that weren't things you actually got to experience in the original, but they were still kind of part of the story. Like that's the thing why I picked this game as replacing the original as being my favorite game of all time, is they did so much better of a job of getting the story across without it just being where you have to read things, you know, like they do in a lot of games, where if you want to get the full story, like you have to find things that you read and all that stuff. They did a better job of trying to put as much of detail of the story and what's going on in your experiences, versus making you try to read stuff to get the narrative. And that's why like I loved this so much more than the original, and I felt like like I feel like they couldn't have did a better job. Like this game, in my opinion, is perfect. So and that's why it's my number one. So
All right. Well, everybody comes down to me. My number one, without a doubt, is Yoshi's Crafted World for Nintendo Switch. The level design, the music, the comedy, the different gameplay elements. You get to go into a ninja school and literally fight ninjas. It is probably one of the most wackiest games, and it's so heartfelt and warming, and I love it. Of course, you get to play the levels backwards, but each level is never the same. It's literally innovative and very creative in what they do for this platform game. Of course, the game is kind of meant for kids, but everything gets very challenging. Like, it feels really good. Fantastic boss designs, like fighting them. It was one of the games that I played, and I paused. I took pictures. You can even see it on the Index Facebook page when it was that. Let's just see all the captions I wrote. They took a bathtub and turned it into a swamp level, and it is literally probably one of the best levels that I've played, with a big fish trying to take you, and it's just like, I am cracking up. And yes, it is like a lot of arts and crafts and stuff put together, but it's so detailed and it's so joyous, and I just had so much fun with this game. Like it, and of course, yes, Resident Evil 5, 2, Fire Emblem, Devil May Cry 5, a lot of games, Gears 5, a lot of games looks beautiful in their own art, and this art direction that they went with just really just amazes me on Nintendo's diversity in video games, on how they approach games with particular art styles and stuff. And they just knocked it out the park with Yoshi's Crafted World. I literally laughed. I had so much fun. I just couldn't stop thinking about it. Corey, thank you for helping me write the review for this. It was so much fun doing the review, and I couldn't stop smiling and talking about this game. Like, it is just such an honor to play this. And it's an honor to play it because, you know, I don't know what other game I played this year would have given me Game of the Year, like a number one Game of the Year. Because there was a lot of great games, but nothing like didn't stick it to me like this game has. And I'm super, super happy that Yoshi's Crafted World is my number one.
Yoshi's Crafted World is definitely a game that screams everything Ed loves about video games. So, you know, like I mean, I know a lot of people listening to this, and maybe even some people sitting here disagree with Yoshi's Crafted World, but like that's why we're here. You know, like we all have
no reason to disagree with it. It's like, hey, that's what Ed likes.
No, I'm just saying, like these are our personal top fives, and like. In people who have been following not only all of us for a long time, but, you know, Ed and I started Nintendo Power Block like 5 years ago at this point. Like, people who have been following us at least since then know that like Yoshi's Crafted World screams Ed, you know, and like just the way that game is put together and what it represents, and the creativity and polish that Nintendo puts on stuff. Like, that's just a game that screams Ed. So, I'm doing some preemptive defending for Ed here.
And let me tell everybody, like, there is no knocking. You guys could see that when a new game came out that was big, then I get it. Then don't I talk about it? Don't I like, Bill, got Resident Evil 2, got Devil May Cry 5, got Fire Emblem, got Astral Chain, got The Division 2, got literally a lot of the big 2019 games out. I went out to the store and bought and played. You know, I I play a diverse of games.
You do, but I'm gonna need you to finish Divinity. So, yeah.
Oh yes, that I need to do. Yes, I need to do that.
I mean, it'll take a while, but I know you can do it.
Yes.
Do it, Shia LaBeouf. Me.
Yeah.
Dude, like Ray, literally, I cannot wait for my Switch version to come in. Like, I can't wait for that physical to come in. Oh, go ahead, Jesse.
I was just gonna say like about the Yoshi's Crafted World. Like I loved every second I played of the demo, and the only reason again that unfortunately this year I just haven't had a lot of extra money. And so in some areas, unfortunately, had to lack, and a lot of times, unfortunately, it was the Switch. But I'm hoping that that changes this year. But like all I can say is from what I've played, like I like the original Yoshi games, but those games do not compare whatsoever to the Crafted World one. Like I like the fact that they almost added like the Toad's Treasure Tracker style of kind of feel of like where you can, if you turn the map at a different angle, then all of a sudden all these things are visible that you couldn't see from another angle. It's almost like they took like Yoshi mixed it with Treasure Tracker and like Paper Mario, like those three games all crunched into one. And like I'll be honest, like I would love to see Paper Mario done almost similar to like that kind of look, but make it like a an RPG or like a more like a Diablo style RPG, where you have like everything paper and like have it like all 3D like it is in kind of the way that they did it in Yoshi's Crafted World, but make it like a more of like an RPG like that style. I think would be kind of cool, versus just the 2D Paper Mario 3 whatever. So I would just like to see them do more of that 3D world with that paper cardboard style, because it looks awesome. Like I love that part of it.
So yes, everybody, that was our personal game of the year. But what did you guys think is like the official kind of like game of the year? I could honestly say that I would have to give it to Fire Emblem Three Houses, because of how deep that game is, the love that they put into it, and it's engaging, and I think just looking at everybody's social media, people who played it, who stayed with it, put over 100+ hours and really fell for it. So my vote is for Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Yeah, our community vote is actually a tie between Three Houses and Fallen Order right now. So, but I mean, look, this year was a good year for a lot of good games, right? It was hard to choose because there wasn't a God of War or a Zelda to kind of stand above the rest. So it gave. Yeah. It gave interesting games like Control a fighting chance, or The Outer Worlds, or Apex, or like
Outer Wilds.
That too.
Yeah, I know that's a game I still need to play too, because I hear so many amazing things about it.
So I mean,
there's a lot.
I think this year was good. I don't know if it was my favorite year in gaming, to be honest, but It was definitely interesting, and I played a lot of interesting games this year, to say the least. And I mean, my personal game of the year is Fire Emblem Three Houses, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order close second, and Gears was a close third. Like those three could have, depending on what day it is, could have interchanged with each other any day. But this is where it landed for me, and that's how it's gonna stay. I mean,
the crazy thing is, I feel like I played the most games this year than I think I ever have. And almost every 90% of the games we talked about tonight, I played.
Yeah.
and that's crazy to think about.
And I think it's because
this is the year of playing current 2019 games. I would say. Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say I think a lot of that helped. Like, there wasn't a lot of games where I had to play on day one, right? So like I either waited for them to come to Game Pass or bought them on sale or waited 6 months to where they were cheaper, right? Like I think that helped me play a lot more games this year too. Instead of, last year I went out and bought most of the games on day one because I wanted to play them. Like God of War was a game that I played on day one, right? Like I wasn't going to wait for that to go on sale, or Spider-Man, or what were some of the other big games last year? I can't even remember. Smash, Pokemon. Like I bought these games on day one. What?
Red Dead was last year too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Red Dead. You didn't play that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I mean, I played enough Red Dead to know that Red Dead wasn't for me.
I mean, look, I didn't
bought
care
it.
for Red Dead 1 all that much, and I heard enough things about Red Dead 2 where I'm like,
Red Dead 2 turned into a simulator more than a video game, and that's why I was out.
yep,
So
that's
Yeah,
why I did not
exactly.
start. I'm like, I need, like, I don't have time to wait and walk across a land for a half hour or clean guns or anything. I need like God of War was good for me, and I'm like, yep,
okay.
I need to throw
Sorry,
something at people.
Go into that because I'm sure now somebody's yelling at the screen. Oh, how could you not understand Red Dead? Oh.
I told Corey that I think Red Dead 2 may be Rockstar's best open world game that I've played.
Ed doesn't care for Rockstar games either. For those who
I respect
are new.
a Rockstar.
We've had.
Well,
some
I
interesting
would say though, honestly, I think Red Dead 2 was Rockstar's. Well, actually, no, I'm not gonna say that because there was a little game called State of Emergency. I was gonna say it was their biggest letdown, but
I mean,
the State of Emergency was
I will agree with
a horrible
in
game.
the fact that it's one of the best open world games they've made. It's just not in the style that I prefer.
Yeah.
It was just that's the thing is it really is amazing in a lot of the things that it did, but it just was a letdown because it wasn't what I feel like someone like me who absolutely loved the first one was looking for. Like like Ray said it, he put it perfectly when he said it, or when you guys said that it was just too much of a simulator versus a video game. Like it just it was too much. It was kind of like, it reminded me of like Witcher 3 is an amazing game, but it's just too much for me to try to take on, and I just don't have the time to dedicate to something like that. Like I wanted it to be like like the other like Grand Theft Auto games and stuff where I could just kind of go off and like do all the things and missions and stuff like that and never feel like I had to go out of my way to make sure that I have a horse or whatever so I can do it efficiently. And like it just, there was too many things that were kind of stopping it from being able to be what I wanted it to be. But I mean, and like we were saying with as far as like what our game of the year is, like I didn't, like I said, get a whole lot into Fire Emblem, but like I said, I also can see where it is an amazing game, and does an amazing job of what it did, and exceeded I feel like it's better than the other Fire Emblem games that I have put time into, so. Yeah, I'd be completely fine with it winning our game of the year.
Yeah. So everybody, our first game of the year, Boss Rush Games, goes to Fire Emblem Three Houses. Congratulations, Nintendo and everyone who came together to make that game. Shout outs to Capcom for this year. Killed it with Resident Evil 2 and Devil May Cry 5. They really knocked it out. The indies, they clown.
Capcom has revived themselves as a company.
Yeah, I would say.
If they get Street Fighter 6 right, Oh my God, Capcom is just back on top.
Monster Hunter World was great. Mega Man 11 was a nice surprise.
Still is great. They're still adding.
Surprise is the best way to put that. Mega Man 11 was a nice surprise.
That's. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was
not great, but it was nice.
It was a nice distraction, a nice $30 distraction.
To play in bed for like 4 hours, and then I was done with it.
Yeah. Resident Evil 7 and 2 are both fantastic Resident Evil games, right? And 3 seems to continue that trend, and like I wouldn't mind seeing Capcom do some more remakes. Like, they just filed for that trademark for Dino Crisis.
If we get a Dino Crisis remake in this RD engine,
dude, oh my God,
it's gonna be like it's gonna be the Jurassic Park game we've always wanted.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so Capcom, this is all you got to do now. You give me a much better, fine-tuned Street Fighter 6, and you actually make a Marvel vs. Capcom game, and you're on top. That's all you got. That's all you need. Just do that, and everything's fine.
Well, everybody, that has been our Game of the Year discussion for Boss Rush Games. Before we go, anybody have one game they're looking forward to in 2020? Ray.
Cyberpunk 2077.
Okay. Jesse.
I mean, it's gonna be that Resident Evil 3 remake.
Yeah. I mean, there's quite a few, but I'm gonna have to just because I'm gonna have to say that I'm really looking forward to Halo and seeing what this is gonna be like, what they're gonna be bringing
to
forward.
the table.
Yeah, it's definitely the most intriguing game coming out next year, just because like they've been saying they're gonna change up the Halo formula. They're gonna go like evolve Halo, yet go back to their roots. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like plus it's launching on a new console, which is always exciting. So
yeah. And then after we do this, there's just one game I want to just mention really quick. So.
Okay, Corey.
I mean, I'm with Jesse. I think it's Halo Infinite for me. I love Halo. I've been playing through the Master Chief Collection in chronological order. I'm playing Reach for really the first time, playing through that campaign. I want to kind of just do a full refresh before Infinite comes out, and I'm really liking Reach, to be honest with you. I actually like it. It has like this different art style and different tone to it a little bit. I like the way the weapons look and feel, but yeah, it's got to be Halo Infinite. I want to see how Halo does. It seems like it's going to be an ongoing game type thing, and I want to see what that is, and see how they, because to me, like, I liked Halo 4 a lot. I really do love Halo 4. But Halo 5 was kind of a misstep, and I know a lot of people don't really care for 4 either. To me, I feel like
4 more than 5 story-wise.
Oh, yeah, I love 4. I think 4 story is really good. I still couldn't tell you what happened in Halo 5, to be 100% honest with you. I saw Nathan Fillion and Luke Cage jump out of an airplane at the beginning and snowboard down the mountain. And that's all I can really tell you.
Well, the thing is, like, I do think with 5, like, they're like the looks of everything, and everything except for the story I felt like was better, like, moving forward. Like, I liked the looks of the guns and like everything like that. I thought was really good in 5, but yeah, the story just wasn't as good, as good. So
yeah. But yeah, Halo Infinite for me.
For me, it's Tokyo Mirage Session FE Encore, because.
But we know what that game is. We played it already.
But the thing about it is, I'm looking forward to this because even though I didn't get to finish it, and a lot of people around the world didn't pick this game up, I think a lot of people are willing to give this game a try, and I really want people to really give this game a try. Like really play it. Because it like Halo Infinite, that's already a yes. Like I don't even need to speak anything more on it. I just really want people to really pick it up and really just like play the game with headphones. You know, put
It's
it
got
on
some
your
catchy
TV.
tunes. I will give it that. It's
Yes.
it's got a
Like
although that new trailer they just put out, boy, they took some notes from those Fire Emblem costumes on these new characters. So I'm just gonna throw that out there. Oh boy, somebody's gonna get in trouble. It's not me.
so. What game did you want to mention, Jesse?
Okay, so a game called it's called Totally Accurate Battle Simulator was just recently added to Game Pass. And this game is so much fun and just so goofy and like just ridiculous, dude. I played a little bit of it today and I was just laughing the whole time. So like I don't know if you guys any of you have ever played like Humans Fall Flat or Gang Beasts or any of those kind of games where it's like it's very, very ragdoll physics. And it's just like the characters are pretty basic looking, but like, so what it is you've got a line down a battlefield, and then there's one group of people that you have to fight, and so you've got a allotted amount of currency that you can spend on what type of characters you want to use on your for your battlefield to then fight. And so then you hit the button and you can start it once you're ready. But then what's kind of cool is you can like pause it in battle, or you can like zoom the camera in to get different angles of the fight as it's going on. And you can either let the computer do its thing and just control the characters by itself and just kind of watch what happens, or you can zoom in onto a character on the battlefield, whatever one you want, and you can take control of that character and then just control them however you want. And it's a lot of fun. It's just a silly, fun game that I could like totally, for like someone like you, Ray, who streams, I could see it being something just hilarious fun that will have like laughs and just pure nonsense. It just like, I remember kind of seeing it when they showed it. I think it was at E3 or something when they showed that it was coming to Xbox. But if you haven't seen the trailer for the announcement trailer for Xbox for it yet, go watch that, and it'll just give you a perfect example of just how goofy and fun this game is kind of trying to be. So, yeah, definitely go check that out. And like I said, it's on Game Pass. So if you got Game Pass, all you can do is give it a try. And if you don't like it, you don't like it.
All right. So. Well, everybody, that has been a show. Jesse, where can we find you?
You can find me almost everywhere as Phantom NXS.
Corey, where can we find you?
You can find me at CoreyNHC713 on Twitter and CoreyNHC on Instagram and all other social and streaming platforms.
Ray, where can we find you?
You can find me everywhere as Ray Apollo, except for my new Epic Creator Code, which is Ray LaCroix Apollo. It's a long story. Don't ask.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at that retro code. You can also check out Optional Opinion on SoundCloud and other podcast apps. And you can find me on Mixer and on Twitch as the Lyrical One. With that, everybody, have a great Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. And we will see you guys in 2 weeks. Be safe into the new year. I will be breaking down the Boss Rush Games year 2 backlog challenge, how the rules go. Since now we are opening it up, it's going to be a great time. I end up having 26 Yoshi coins this year, so I'm really proud of reaching that goal of the games that I played. I actually beat 8 backlog games, and I'm really proud of myself doing that. With that, everybody, have a great year. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. We never really see this. And we will see you in 2020 with more prosperous games. Everybody, play games and let's be better. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.